All right, we're gonna have to get the swear jar out for this one. What's going on, everybody? It is that time again. We are getting closer and closer to the end of this trial. We did obviously skip a lot, and you can't see me, can you? Per usual. Always something going on. What's up, everybody? I was just hiding in the background there. So today what we're going to be doing is watching Melanie Gibb's very long interview with Nate Eaton. This is interesting because of the timing. Nate was out here doing work. He was talking to a lot of people, and it was in the time. It was in the time that, it was actually happening in time. In real time. There you go. And what's interesting is because he said, and all I did was turn this video on so we could have it here. And the first thing I hear is, I've been waiting 5 months to talk to you. So this is very, very new and fresh. So you guys know how I feel about Melanie Gibb. I just think that she is backpedaling as well and acts like she doesn't know what she knows. And that bothers me. So I'll give you guys my honest take on it. I'll try to keep it clean. Hope you guys had a good Christmas. It was good to see everybody in the Christmas stream last night. But let's get it going.
I've been waiting 5 months to...
I gotta plug this back in. Hold on. And it's interesting to take this interview. I always wonder what people's intentions are. So
talk to you, and you've been hard to find.
I know.
Would it be fair to say that you've been in hiding?
Yes.
Why?
When you realize that the people that you know and you're close to and love have been involved in something that has to do with kidnapping and people dying, you start to think, oh my gosh, are they going to come after me? Everything closes in, and you start to think about your own safety, and you start to think about what really happened, and could this really be true? I had all kinds of fears, what the media would say about me, if they would say it the way I want to say it, like I'm saying it now. I wasn't ready.
So why are you ready today?
Because I faced all the fears, and then I decided that the truth was more important than what I wanted. And I needed to do it for those that have passed on, that justice may be served. I think it's fair to Charles and JJ and Tammy and Tylee that someone is standing up for what happened to them. And I do care for them, and I care for the families that are involved.
I'm sorry, I don't. I'm not buying that. I'm sorry, I don't. This is all about clearing your name, because the first thing you said is something about yourself, which, as human beings, we have a natural, whatever the word would be, to survive. Natural will, whatever the case may be. But it feels like for me to come back and backtrack, especially specifically with Charles, is very bothersome. And she didn't care about Tylee when they were in Idaho. She didn't care about it at all until Chad and Lori wanted to use her and set her up. And then she found out how much trouble she was going to get in. And that was what this was. Brandon, this is, I think, the one, I think this is after, because she just said missing and dead. So I don't know. Is there a date on this? What is with the 5 years ago? All right, whatever.
And is that your goal in talking today?
My goal is to speak to the things that have gone on, and also to speak to many that believe their story of some of the things we're going to talk about zombies, to being a part of the 144,000, to multiple probations. These things do need to be discussed to those that do follow those teachings. And so I have a lot of perspective on that.
Would it be fair to say you know Chad and Lori better than anybody?
Probably.
And you know their beliefs.
Yep.
You know their activities.
Why do they do this outside in the wind?
You know more about this story probably than anybody else other than them.
Yeah, I think so.
You told me the other day on the phone that someone told you needed to get an attorney. And what was your response when they said, have you gotten an attorney?
Well, how I responded to you is, why do I need an attorney if I'm telling the truth? God is on my side.
So let's go back a few years
That's what Lori and Chad said.
and talk about Chad Daybell.
Okay.
How did you meet Chad?
The first time I met him, he was at a conference or an event speaking about his last days, dreams and visions, and I just walked up to him and introduced myself to him.
Was that in Rexburg?
I think The first time I met him might have been at a camp up in Ogden, I think. Somewhere in that area.
In northern Utah.
Northern Utah.
Were you impressed by what he had said there at the conference? Is that why you wanted to talk to him, or was it just a casual, good job?
I wanted to meet him because I thought his dreams were interesting, and when I met him, I thought he was a really nice guy, and anytime I saw him was at an event.
At what point did you become closer than just seeing him at events or, hearing him speak?
So when Lori and him met, that's when I started to get to know him a little bit more.
Tell me how you met Lori.
So I was teaching a class at church one evening, and she was there, and she introduced herself to me.
And what was that encounter like?
She was very excited to hear the things I was teaching, and so when I went out to the hallway, she came up to me and introduced herself, and she told me about a lot of personal experiences that she had that were spiritual in nature, and we just hit it off.
So from there, a friendship developed.
Yep.
And what was that relationship like?
Wow.
In the beginning,
yeah.
What was it like?
So we talked often about our experiences.
What was that friendship like? And she says, oh, wow. That's not putting any, I don't know.
We had spiritually, and we talked about some of our trials that we've overcome, and we talked a lot about the second coming as well and how excited we are for the things that we've been studying and learning. And so just a lot of interest in that area. Mm-hmm. And we just talked about life and being a mom and, JJ being a handful, being autistic and what that was like. And, we just talked about our life.
Do you remember what year that was, Melanie, when you met her?
Yeah, that was 2018, about October.
October of 2018. Mm-hmm. So you saw JJ, you saw Tylee, you knew that
Absolutely.
She was raising the kids.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And at what point did she meet Chad? Because you knew Chad and you knew Lori, but they were separate relationships.
Correct. So I met her first. Well, I met him, within years, but didn't know him super close or anything like that. So then I meet her, and then her and I decided that we're going to go to an event in St. George, and so we drove down together. And then he was selling his books and speaking, and so that's when they got to meet. So that was probably October, November, somewhere in that time frame of the same year.
2018. Mm-hmm. So did you introduce them?
I don't know if I did or she just went up to the table. I can't recall.
And was there anything unusual or magical or different about when they met?
So we were there for 2 or 3 days, and I think he was there for 2 days. And she talked to him a lot about his books. And so she asked a lot of questions, and she was very interested in what he thought, and she was interested in what she knew. And so they just started talking about these different beliefs that generally are not something you learn in church. And so they started kind of develop that connection right there. Mm-hmm.
And were you kind of intergrained with all of it right there as they're talking about these things?
I am going in and out, and I'm not sure exactly all the things they're saying.
I see.
Yeah.
But it wasn't anything unusual. It would be if you found somebody at the church that had similar beliefs and you were talking about things, or was it a step further?
It was a step further. It was discussing the things that were not something you would talk at church. It was something that you would talk closely with not a lot of people listening.
Did you know that Chad had a wife and 5 kids in Rexburg?
Mm-hmm.
And did Lori know that?
Yes.
And was Tammy ever with Chad?
No.
She didn't come with him to the events?
No.
And did his children?
Not that I know of.
Okay. So where did their relationship go from there?
So after spending much time talking those 2 days, we went back to Arizona, and he came down to Arizona when it was the next event, which was in November sometime.
I just, and this is my thing, like, okay, that's fine to change it up if you truly did, but just be honest with how on board you were. Like, that's the thing I'm always waiting for. It's just like, just say how on board you truly were.
And so many people, so some of my friends, some of Lori's friends, and then Chad, all got to stay in her house. It was one of the larger houses she had, so she had plenty of room throughout her house. And so they spent some time talking. And
It's so creepy that all of them came down there and stayed at that house.
Spent some time talking to us as well.
Everybody stayed in this house.
That's right.
Chad, Lori, you. Was Charles there?
No, he went out of town.
He was out of town.
Mm-hmm.
Did you have much interaction with Charles?
A little bit.
And what was that like?
So when I did interact, it was just like the first time I came over, I believe we did a barbecue, and he was cooking barbecue. That seemed something that he was good at, according to both of them. And there was swimming in the pool with the kids, and he seemed like just kind of a nice guy, just happy to see us, happy to meet us. I don't know. It was an enjoyable conversation. He was talking a little bit about his conversion to the church, and he seemed to be pretty excited about it.
How would you describe his and
This is weird. Because I always wanted to know what Charles thought about the whole Melanie Gibb coming over for Christmas and the roller skating, just that alone. Because that was just one of those things I think everybody was uncomfortable with.
Lori's marriage?
There seemed to be some arguing often when I would see them together. So he was trying to do things to help her and please her, and she seemed like she was struggling to be happy by that. Like she seemed a little often frustrated with him. They had something going on that I didn't quite understand, but there seemed to be a lot of contention between the two of them.
Yeah, let's address that. And you know what? I just want this stuff. This is why we're doing this. Yeah. So they had a really bad relationship. And I would call it a really bad relationship because Charles was trying to constantly please his wife. And Lori was the most covertly manipulative person you've ever met. She knew how to pin you against people. She knew what people wanted. She knew that Charles wanted her attention. She knew that Tylee wanted her attention. She knew how to make people, she was an instigator at its core. So really what you have to understand is the dynamic was constant fighting between Charles, Lori, and Tylee. And it was a bloodbath. Just it was, because every day they would bicker. And it was just it was fighting and bickering. Lori called, Charles names in front of everybody. We've talked about this before. So yeah, it's just one of those things where I grew up watching a very, very unhealthy marriage. And, that's just what it was. That was the example that I had. And, I don't know how you deal with that situation, because it was Tylee and Charles having their fights, then Lori coming in and trying to be on one side, even though she'd probably start the fight a lot of times. She created a lot of contention because she goes to people privately and says, hey, I'm just going to be candid just because it's easier to say it this way. But it's like, hey, Tylee was talking shit about you. And then she goes to Tylee and says, Charles was talking bad about you. And just like, she knows what she's doing. She does it in the background. And so it's very covert. And it's a different kind of manipulation. So they had a really bad dynamic, all three of them. And then I was the silent, kind of like always trying to do my own thing kind of person. And I don't know, it's just a very isolated person because like I didn't want to be around it. And just like hearing people constantly fight, it was horrible. So I don't know. She's not wrong, but I know Melanie Gibb did not care for Charles. Because if she loved Lori and Lori complained about Charles as much as she did, then Melanie Gibb did not care about Charles at all. And let's just be honest, they were absolutely like this. That's why that phone call was so important for us to understand in context. That Lori goes, I can't believe it'd be you who turns on me, Melanie Gibb, because you know too much. That says a lot.
Do you ever see him lose his temper or become irate or angry with Lori or the kids?
Nope.
Did you ever see her become upset or angry with Charles?
Like vocally, I could see her, being upset. And he was frustrated back, so he might have had a little bit of that stress in his voice when you argue. So I would say just that arguing kind of a upset voice,
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So he wasn't there at the house the day that you guys were all there for that conference.
Right.
The conference happens, and what happens from there with Chad and Lori?
They just spent time talking about things. They went on a walk together or jog in the morning together. I do recall that. All the things they talked about, it's like so personal. It's so hard to share with the world. You know what I mean?
So it was very personal details.
Some of it, he was teaching us about some of his understandings about multiple lives and things of that nature. But at that point, he had already shared with her when they met in St. George that they had been married multiple times before.
Oh my gosh.
So that was established when they first met.
And Chad?
Here's the thing that's weird. I never saw Lori and my dad go on a walk. I can almost tell you, no matter where we lived, that was not a normal thing. So that was their way of covertly hiding their affair by going on these jogs or these walks and just talking. It's so weird to think about how enamored they both were with one another.
Told Lori when they first met that they had been married before?
Not in this, right now in this earth life, but in multiple earth lives.
In a previous life?
Mm-hmm.
And did Lori have an issue with that?
No, she seemed to understand that teaching already, that she had learned already through podcasts. So it wasn't something that was
So did you! Oh, I'm going to get... It's coming. It's boiling up like a volcano.
Boring, right.
So Chad's teaching this group about multiple lives. Is that what it means? Multiple probations? Does that mean previous life?
That's right.
So he's talking about multiple probations. He and Lori have been married before.
That's right.
And you all are...
Hey, I will always be shocked because I saw one person on that photo in December, December 19th. And then when they found them in Hawaii, he had lost a ton of weight. So she cut his, he was not eating hot dogs. Let's just put it that way.
Discussing this. And is that when you decided to form a group? Is that?
No, there wasn't any group. It was just him talking to people individually. He wasn't even trying to express it like, hey, let's start a group. Nothing of that language. So, a lot of people have different ideas about, is this a cult, is this not a cult? And so we can talk about that a little bit later. But
Yeah.
I would just say from the beginning, what
It's literally by almost definition a cult.
it felt like to me at least is he was just talking to individuals. And he was very kind of private, and so he would talk to her, and then she would kind of share with us. So he wouldn't get too overly involved talking to us. She would just more share what he would teach her to us.
And was she the only person that he was doing this with?
No.
There were others. Other women?
Men and women. I knew of it already, yeah.
And do you know, had he told other women that he had been married to them in previous probations?
I'm not sure about that.
But definitely he had told Lori that.
Right.
What was it like to witness this? I mean, did it seem like a normal relationship between the two of them, or did you think this might be going a little too far?
It was definitely different. The idea was definitely a new concept.
You watched them cheat, knowing both of them were married. You literally were their best friends supporting this whole thing up until you got screwed. She watched them cheat together.
I'm a very open person, so I don't necessarily think it's not true. And before I just listened to what they said. Did I 100% believe any of it ever? No, not 100%, no. So when you get introduced to something, you kind of just, let it marinate. And so I just listened to them talk about it. I mean, it was not something that I knew anything about until they shared it with me, so.
And not something that you had heard at church or in Sunday school or in a manual anywhere?
Never. Yeah, it does not represent our church's teachings at all.
So they're going on jogs together. He's talking about these multiple probations. The conference ends, and what happens from there?
So he goes back home, and I just know that they're communicating on the phone every single day. I do know that. She would let me know. Yeah.
Did you ever think, she might be falling in love with him?
Well, yeah, I knew. They pretty much hit it off.
Did you wonder, hold on, she's married and he's married too, and they both have kids? Was that a thought you ever expressed to Lori?
Well, I did actually offer the idea. I'm like, why don't you just go ahead and get a divorce? And they were told that they weren't allowed to.
They weren't allowed to?
Yeah.
Because of church teachings, or?
No, something that they received through the other side of the veil, how they...
Through made up stuff. Because it's like, do you see how weird it is? Like, maybe she's trying to put it in context, but she believed it. So now I just wonder when the change happened.
How they would speak about it, and said, no, we're not allowed to do that.
So they received like a spiritual prompting or a revelation, or
However he got his revelation.
however he got it.
Yeah.
Said, don't get a divorce.
Right, he wasn't allowed to, actually.
Was not allowed to get a divorce.
That's correct.
You said that it wasn't a group or a cult, but do you think it became that over time?
I guess it depends on what you believe those words mean. A lot of us don't understand what those words mean. I would say it's teachings, that you have the basic tenets of the gospel of Jesus Christ that we do as Christians, right? And then you have this doctrine that comes in that's not affiliated with any Christianity that I've ever read of. And it's not doctrine that comes from Jesus Christ, it comes from the adversary. And so that comes in, and it's enticing, because how many people do you hear even in the world that want to know about their future?
I don't want to know my future. I think that's called too much. What is with the future thing? What is this crystal ball? Let me show you what's going to happen tomorrow. I can't tell you what's going to happen in 30 seconds. I don't have the ability to do that. So she's telling you how she got sucked in. I also wanted to shout out Camille. I just saw your chat. Thank you so much. This is so out of pocket. It's just so crazy because we just know so much more context now. It's all piecing together, and there's so much more context. So I'm really frustrated.
Right, or they want to know their fortune or something like that. And so it's enticing, so you keep going more and more into it, and then you get more information, and it gets you to ask questions that you shouldn't be asking. And then you learn these kind of things. And so you can call that what you want. I mean, I didn't see him forming any groups, per se. Preparing people is not a cult. They're people, very nice people, that have an event they hold, and they have different speakers. He just happened to be one of them, and they had no idea that he had these belief systems, nor did they know anything about Chad and Lori's relationship. They had no idea.
Yeah, so that was going on separate
Yeah.
from the mainstream church and preparing of people. It was
Right.
this little
Right.
thing.
Yep.
Would you say that you got sucked into it?
Yeah.
Or brainwashed?
I don't know if the brainwash word is, I would say sucked into it. I don't know if you would call it a brainwash or not.
How often would you meet? Would you actually meet together? Or was this more done on the phone or on email or Facebook?
It wasn't anything that was planned. So I just spent a lot of time with Lori. So we spent every day together for a period of time, actually, especially when she left Charles that first time. It seemed like it was every day. It was close to every day. A lot of time together for at least a few months, and then it kind of spread out a little bit. I talked to her a lot personally because she was with me a lot, and he talked to her, but I didn't talk to him very often. Just
It's really hard to follow what she's trying to say. I'm assuming she's meaning Chad and Lori, and she was talking about preparing the people. So we have to kind of, it's weird because Chad is so integrated in so many different things, right? So it's like the preparing the people thing is there, and then you have, AVOW, and then you have like their really, really, really small group that is whatever they're called. I don't even know what they call themselves, but the very small group, which is Alex, Melanie, Zulema, Lori, Chad, and yeah, I mean, it's a very small group compared to all the bigger groups they were touching in.
occasionally,
So
when I
you
get
call
a chance.
her, and because you were with her so much, you
Yeah.
knew what they were talking about.
Right, yeah, exactly.
How did you meet Alex and Zulema and Melanie?
I met Alex for the first time at Lori's house. He often came over to visit, and I think Melanie too. I met her at her house, and then Zulema I met at church.
Okay, so Melanie and Alex would come to the house while you were there with Lori. And what was that interaction like? What was that relationship like?
It was kind of fun and enjoyable. I mean, Alex was fun, and he was a comedian kind of guy, and
Knowing what he did, it's not funny.
we just talk about all kinds of stuff. Sometimes spiritual stuff, sometimes non-spiritual stuff. It was in the beginning. It was just more casual because Alex at this point didn't know anything about that until later on.
Would you say that Chad and Lori were kind of leaders, or at least they were working their way to be leaders of a group, of other people that might follow their teachings?
So ultimately, yes, they did believe that they were the head of the 144,000. So, that's scriptural. That word is scriptural, right? But they believed that was what their assignment was. So I guess in some sense you could say that they were trying to find people that would fit that group individually.
And all along, they're going to church every Sunday.
To a point, and then she just stopped going after a while.
Move the chat in someone's face.
She felt
Don't
that
turn it
Charles was kind of
backwards.
chasing her with the papers to be signed for divorce. She kept running, and so I don't think she went to church. So she hadn't gone to church in a long time, and if she did go, it was very rare.
But you were going.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Have you-
So here's an interesting thing, and I always thought that. So what happened in Lori's mind? This is starting to hit me. What happened in her mind is that they no longer needed the mainstream Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. So LDS is no longer important to Lori. She became a higher being. She really believed in some capacity, even though she's such an idiot. And I tell her right to her face how stupid she truly is. But the reality was she truly believed in some capacity that she was a higher being, did not need church, did not need the Bible, did not need to repent, didn't need Jesus. Like, she truly did think she was like some kind of God. It's very interesting. Like, that was just, there's so many pieces of that make it make sense in a full circle.
you heard anything about burner phones? 60 burner phones being used to communicate, or
I don't know that word, burner.
it's like a prepaid phone that you can go down to 7-Eleven and buy a phone and put 400 minutes on it, and then once
7-Eleven. I haven't seen a 7-Eleven in a long time.
it's done, you can get another one. It's not like you have a cell phone plan or anything. Did Laura use a lot of those type of devices?
Well, I know that she had about 3 phones, but they seem to be the same phones. So if she did those and threw them away, I don't know about that.
But she had 3 phones and was getting calls on all of them.
Yeah, it was hard to track her at times. You didn't know which phone she was going to pick up.
Why did she need so many phones?
Well, she had one special phone that her and Chad would communicate with, and he had a special phone outside of his cell phone number. So it was just for their personal communication.
So one specific phone for Chad and Lori to communicate with.
Yeah.
And why could they not communicate on their normal phone?
I guess in case somebody picked it up and saw their conversations.
Why do you think they were so secretive?
When you go to church in the temple, there's certain questions they ask you to see if your belief systems are consistent with the doctrine, and they were inconsistent. And so that's a reason you're going to be secret about it, because you think you know something more than they do. That, at least that's what.
That's exactly what you believed. I don't understand why we're talking like this is a third person observer. You are in the doo-doo deep, brother. You were neck deep in this, if not up to the nose. So it's just weird to hear it as if it was somebody like, oh yeah, my best friend, I noticed she started to change. Dog, this is what they talked about probably 24/7. They had this weird little thing where they'd whisper to each other. And I told you guys, this is why we questioned their sexuality. And I'm just being 1,000% honest, because I was like, bro, they just are so close, physically close so often. And like, this is such a new person in our lives, and they're so close to each other. We've never seen this girl, where she come from. And they would just literally like lips to ears be whispering all the time, especially when we were in groups. So she'd invite, me and Kelsey and then Tylee, and we'd all be in a group, and then maybe my cousin or somebody else added in, and then we'd go to dinner and they just be, but I mean like it's called, what is it? Asmir, ASMR, whatever it's called. That's how they were. And they were in each other's ears constantly. And they had this weird thing about their bubbles, and they'd say something about their bubbles. It was weird shit. I don't know. But she's acting like she wasn't a part of it. It's starting to get on my nerves.
What was introduced is this idea we know more. So if that got out, people would think you were unusual or weird in the church, right? And then they would say, hey, I don't think that you're allowed to go into the temple because of these teachings. So you're going to keep that secret, right?
Latter-day Saints if they want to go and worship at the temple, they need to go see their religious leaders, their clergy, every 2 years and get a recommend that allows you to go into the temple. But you have to be living certain standards. And you're saying Chad and Lori clearly were not living those standards, or at least following the doctrines being taught.
Correct.
But they were still going to the temple.
Oh, yeah. That was her favorite place to go. So she did actually go to the temple, but maybe not to church.
She'd go to the temple, but not to church.
Yeah.
So did you know
just for everyone who's not
weren't...
LDS, that is not normal at all. Again, back to what Brandon even testified to, is they asked, is it normal to go to the temple on a consistent basis? And he was like, maybe once a month, maybe like, it's not something as an LDS person that you do consistently. Like, you could live right next to the temple, and unless you work there, you just don't go every day. The temple is a different thing. Church is for everybody. The temple, like Nate just said, you have to go through a specific process of a checklist of like, are you following certain guidelines of this religion to go to the temple to make sure that you are worthy to go to the temple. Okay. So obviously none of them are going to say anything, but it's interesting that Lori dipped out of church completely, because she made that such a big deal when I stopped going to church. Well, it was such a big deal to be at sacrament meeting in church, whatever.
In line with the mainstream?
Yeah.
And did you talk with her about it?
Yeah.
And what was the reaction?
Well, when she taught me, she was leading me to believe they were true. So there would be times where I'm like, do you think that's a good idea? Or do you think this is, those kind of thoughts? But I just kind of didn't voice a much opposition to it, but just more listened, just more listened.
Was there ever a time where you thought, whoa, this is too much. This crosses the line?
Well, I always thought this is a little unusual, especially, we'll get in talking about later about the zombie thing, but that was definitely unusual. That was hard to completely believe.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was quite unusual.
Did you feel, or did they make you feel special or chosen as they're teaching you these things, that you are one of the elect and you need to be with us?
Yep.
Mm-hmm. And how did that make you feel?
First, I thought it was me, right? So first you have that feeling of, I don't feel like that's something, because I didn't get that personally from God, so I thought it was unusual. So she kind of had to keep talking me into it. That makes sense. Like, you really are, you need to believe this, and with much enthusiasm.
How did Lori describe your relationship with her?
I would say she would call me a best friend or either a really good friend.
And you all knew each other in previous lives?
Well, she claimed that we did, but I have no memory.
Just threw it in there. And you've all hung out before, a bunch of different times on a bunch of different earths. You're all best friends.
Memory of that.
They obviously made you feel very special, made you feel like you were elect, that you were chosen. Mm-hmm. And as things progressed, did you gradually come to really believe that and say, yeah, I am one of the chosen ones?
To some level. Not 100%, but to some level.
Were their beliefs and this belief system written down or recorded in any way?
Yeah. There was paperwork that showed all the 12 apostles to the Old Testament apostles, prophets, people and their friends that they knew currently, to maybe some movie stars or people, just in general. They had maybe 4 pages. I don't know how many pages. And that was created by Chad. And he would say, well, these are who they are. This is what lives they live. This is how many times they've been on. So yes, it was a whole document. It was a whole plan. I mean, they would write down on paper, like, this is how many lives, this is what it needs to get to this level. You need to go to this many. I mean, it was quite the plan, if that makes sense. It was quite the
detailed
list. I mean,
yeah, that's why it got her. Because there was just literally, as I already wrote this down, I still have it on the desk. This is them. Okay? This is the credentials of the Chad Church. Is me writing it down on a piece of paper and saying, this is all real. And they're all just like, oh, wow. Like, my son does this all the time when he sees something. He goes, wow. Oh, wow. That's them. Just losing it. They couldn't believe, oh, we're so special. Can you believe this? Look at this crude drawing. Look at these 50 Earths I've been on. Oh my gosh, this is incredible. Wow.
And I know that Charles was aware of it because he sent it out to a lot of people.
So Chad came up with all of this on his own?
That I know of. I don't know if he got it from anywhere else. I've never heard that before.
And movie stars were on it?
I think so, or either he told us personally. I didn't look at the whole list, so actually I can't say. I just kind of browsed it a little bit because I didn't feel like it was for me to look at.
Yep.
So I kind of skimmed it a little bit. So,
can you tell me about Chad and Lori sealing themselves in the temple to each other? And for those people that aren't familiar, couples will go to the temple and be married and sealed together, meaning they believe that the relationship will continue after this.
So I want to answer your question real quick. Do they monitor who then goes into the temple when they find out that someone was going there often? You'd think there'd be more concern that she was going often more than usual. And that's the point. It's okay. And I'm just going to say something, and this is in no way and shape or form to criticize or hurt someone's feelings, but it's just the honest to God truth. I feel like the LDS church has a very hands-off controversial things, and they don't really address it. They just kind of like, oh, well, it's kind of like this all the time. And I feel like sometimes you do have to address certain things. You need to be able to say, now this is a problem. You do what you can. But I don't like that idea that you can just, hey, I don't know. Here's the reality. You can lie to get into the temple. You could go and become a member of the church and get baptized and just be planning the entire time to do whatever you want. And so you have to be, there's no way to truly vet someone in a sense, because you can lie to get into the temple. You can. And it's on you. And so at the end of the day, if you're a member of the church and you go to your bishop and you say you're living a certain way and you talk to all the people you're supposed to talk to, that's really it. That's all it comes down to, is they don't have to do anything about that. So yeah, I mean, yeah, you can lie and go to the temple, and that's all that, that's what Melanie's telling you right now, is that, people will just say, yeah, I'm worthy, and then go to the temple and do it. So it's really supposed to be your morality that you are, protecting, or understanding of what you're doing if you're lying. But yeah, there's no vetting in that situation.
This life ends. Did Chad and Lori talk about what they were doing in the temple together, which would be against church policy and procedure?
Right. Chad didn't tell me, but Lori did.
What did she tell you?
And she just told me they went together, and they felt that they were sealed by those on the other side of the veil that had the authority to do that.
So they were in the temple together,
right,
when this happened,
right.
Yet she's still married to Charles, and he's still married to Tammy.
Correct.
And when you would raise this with them, that, hey, you're still married, what was their reaction, or at least Lori's, because I'm sure you never had a chance to talk to Chad about it.
She said that it was okay that they did this because they had been married so many times before that their spouses would understand someday.
Lori, from what I understand, said that she has been on 21 planets and Chad has been on 31.
I thought they said they had those many lives, not that many planets. So it's not only just a life, it's literally that many different planets. Can you please explain to me when we're going to see these other planets? I'd love to see it. That's like when me and Kelsey have been saying this to each other every time. Melanie was on the phone with Lori, and she goes, Lori is so passive aggressive, and Melanie's like, "Can I share a scripture with you?" And Lori goes, "I'd love it." Me and Kelsey say that every day now. You want to have dinner? I'd love it. But it's so stupid, bro. Where are these planets? Where are these people? This is crazy.
That before?
I wouldn't say planets, but I would just say lives.
Lives. So she's had 21 lives, and he's had 31. That he was a holy ghost and has had 5 lives on this earth, and she's had 4 lives.
Correct.
And
Well, no, I think she had 5 lives on this earth.
she had 5 lives on this. They both had 5 lives on this earth.
I believe so.
And Chad made a portal in Lori's closet so she can visit him.
Give Nate credit, man. Because you have to stay straight-faced. When you are interviewing someone like this, you got to be as calm and as collected as you can be. Give him credit.
What does that mean? That sounds kind of crazy, I'll be honest.
It does sound crazy. So a portal was something that he created for her. I don't know exactly how he did it, but maybe.
Like a box?
No, it's just a spot where he just maybe said a prayer or, however words he uses to create this portal. I don't know. I mean, I wasn't there. I don't know.
Sure.
But it's not like he could come through it physically, but it was a way for them to interact spiritually.
I see.
How, Sway? Just all I want somebody to do is explain the lore of the portal. That is, I would just love some kind of explanation on what. So from my understanding of anything I've ever seen about a portal is a connection point from point A to point B. So it's either something you can step through, or you can see a different realm, or you usually go into it. Okay. I watched Danny Phantom. Okay. I've seen Doctor Strange with his fingies. I know what it is. Explain the portal to me and the lore of the portal. Is it a talking portal? It's just communication? Because why would you need a phone and text? Is it where you sit? Can you imagine Lori sitting in the effing corner and here's a wall and she's just in there just talking? That's madness. That's absolute madness. And that's scary, like a scary movie.
A sacred area where if she wanted to connect with him, she could go sit and then they would have a connection. What do you think about that?
I thought it was different. I thought, how do you do that? Like, do you have to have some special skills to do that? I didn't understand how people could do that, but I don't know. It was pretty extreme, but to me, everything was new, and I just thought, well, these people know things that I don't know about this stuff, so.
It seems to me, though, that all along you were kind of at the back of your mind questioning, not blindly believing everything they said, but somewhat skeptical. Would that be an accurate?
Yeah. I mean, if you were to talk to Lori, she'd probably say I believed it. But there's always a little bit of doubt because I know she also had doubt. And
you guys are killing. I'm trying to pay attention, but I can't stop reading your guys' chats. You're making me laugh, bro. I'd love it.
2 or 3 times said to me, if Chad is Satan, he sure is a good one. So that tends to lead me to think that she wasn't 100% convinced either.
That she may have doubted Chad too.
Yeah.
And she said, if Chad is a Satan, he sure is a good one.
Yeah.
How many Satans are there? I guess there's 31 because there's 31 planets. You need 31 Lucifers, 31 identical Satans or bad people to be the Lucifer of that planet. Do you see how deep this lore gets? It gets crazy.
Do you know, did she ever tell him that?
Not that I know of.
Or raise questions with him?
Yes, she did.
You don't know. You
Not in a sense
about
of spiritual, but she did leave him for a very slight amount of time. And then he said, you need to send me a smiley face or I'm dropping the protection. And she sent it. She believed it. That's crazy right there. Like, he literally was manipulating her, but she was doing the same back to him. They were both manipulating each other.
Alex, what was he like with Zulema? Did you have much interaction with the two of them?
Just a little bit at the end, because they didn't know it. Well, they didn't get together until the very end, so they were just.
What's the end? The end of what?
Developing a friendship.
And you met Zulema at church?
Correct.
Okay. And what was Melanie Boudreau like?
She was. She's fun. I really love Melanie. We did have a special relationship. She loved me and I loved her, and so she seemed that she had a lot of strife going on in her life, and she.
I had no idea till this moment how close, or even within the realm of the two Melanies. I didn't even know they barely knew each other. That's crazy. That's so crazy.
I was really worried about her family, and so we had conversations about what was going on to some level. I mean, I wasn't as involved with their conversations as Lori and Melanie were, but as far as I went, we just were a support of, to each other, I think.
Would it be fair to say that you, Chad, Lori, Melanie, Alex, Zulema, you six were kind of a close group of friends, kind of a tight-knit family in a way?
Yes.
So you all would spend a lot of time together, and during these meetups, over dinner or whatever, you talk about religious things, the mysteries of God, things like.
I can't even imagine being a waiter, and I walk over, and I see a group of people, and there's a piece of just paper crudely drawn on, and the second I come over to pour water, everyone stops talking, because that they probably were trying to hide it, not necessarily always secretive, but they didn't want people overhearing these conversations.
That
sometimes we didn't meet together as a group like a close friendship group together very often. We met on a very rare occasion together, all of us. We more like saw each other here or there, or talked on the phone, or took a drive here together. But that kind of, like you would a friend. You don't always get together as a group. But yeah.
And was it all
called? We just call it. We got T-shirts. It's called the Casual Cult. We're just all cool. Everybody's just cool. We're all friends. So you jump on the phone. Hey, what it do? How you doing? And we'll just see each other at exchanging as we're walking by cult stuff.
Always religious talk?
Pretty much, I would say so.
Not a lot of other talk about politics or the weather.
No, politics. Probably not politics and sports. No, I wouldn't even talk about that.
Sure, yeah. Gardening, whatever.
I would talk about gardening.
So it was mainly religious talk when you'd all get together.
Yeah.
September of 2019, Lori moves to Rexburg.
Right.
Did you know she was going to move? Did she talk with you about this before?
Yep. Well, she didn't decide until, I think August, maybe.
And how did she break the news to you?
Well, she said that first she thought Chad would come to be with her in Arizona. And then she said, I think I changed my plans. I think I'm supposed to be up there. He says I'm supposed to be up there, but I need to get my own answer to find out if I'm supposed to be there, because she didn't really want to go there at first. And then she said, I was told, yes, I need to go, and she needed to be there by a certain time. And so she decided to go.
Who the fuck is telling you this stuff? Like, that's my question. Is a familiar spirit whispering to you? Are you having demons come to you and manifest themselves? Or are you literally just like praying and then just making, I'm just trying to figure out the by yourself head game, knowing you're not praying to God. It's just crazy to me.
She just told me that I need to go up there.
And at that time, you're seeing her every day with...
No, not every day at this point. It started to slow down when Charles passed away. I didn't see her as much. It started kind of tapering off.
Stupid stuff one more time.
In the end.
Stupid pass away. Nobody passed away.
And especially when she moved to Rexburg, it really tapered off because she was now... And then plus she had been to a few different places, Hawaii and Texas. And so, obviously I couldn't spend every day with her. So It started to taper down after she started moving more.
And before Charles passed, you're talking to her a lot. And is she telling you that she wants to get a divorce, or is she saying Charles is pushing this divorce on me?
She says that he wants to get it, but she does not want to. She doesn't want to go through another divorce again.
I want to get back to that in a minute. But in September, she moved.
That says a lot right there. So Lori did not want to get a divorce. Neither did Chad, because they both wanted the life insurance money. That has to be what that line of thinking was.
She tells you that she needs to go up there. And what was your reaction about Chad telling her she needs to come up there, knowing that Chad still has the wife and 5 kids?
Yeah, well, we talked about that. I'm like, isn't that going to be awkward? She was uncomfortable with it. She believed that Tammy was going to pass away, though, before she got up there. And that didn't happen. She didn't pass away before she got up there. And so I thought, I said, aren't you uncomfortable? Maybe she'll see you guys together. And so I thought it was different, that she was going to be up there when Tammy was still alive.
And she told you, well, Tammy will die before I move up there.
Right.
How was she going to die?
I heard a few times maybe through a car accident or something like that.
So they thought Tammy would be in a car crash,
yeah,
would pass away, then Lori would move up there, and then she could marry Chad. Mm-hmm. And when that didn't happen, she said, I've still got to go.
Yeah, because, the other side of the veil she's talking to, she said, I need to be there by this date. And
she's communicating with
someone.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So she moves up there, and from what I understand, she and Chad would walk around the track at BYU, Idaho, holding hands, maybe kissing, just displaying, looking like a married couple.
Well, she told me that they did walk around the track together. She didn't tell me what they did or didn't do, but I did have an opportunity to walk with them. And then we walked around and looked at the different pictures. I'd never been there before, so I saw the pictures that were in the gymnasium, behind it where they have those beautiful pictures. So we talked and we walked, and yeah, they were. I was surprised. I'm like, aren't you worried that people are going to see you? And
see, that's what you were worried about. It wasn't about the fact that this is wrong. You're a best friend. If I showed up at a track and my best friend is there and I know he's married, or I guess at that point, you know what just happened with the spouse. And then my friend is walking with another woman and they're kissing and she's married. I would slap the freaking taste out that boy's mouth.
Well, Tammy doesn't come out a lot. She doesn't come over to this part a lot, so.
But they were openly affectionate.
Yeah, and they said a lot of people that knew Chad didn't know what Tammy looked like because they didn't do a lot of the things together.
Did Chad ever talk about Tammy possibly passing away?
I can't recall if he said it, but I know she did. He was very quiet most of the time. He let her do most of the talking.
How would you describe his personality at that time? Just reserved?
Reserved. Yeah, reserved. A little. Sometimes he came across not very confident.
Did you stay with Lori at that time when you went up to visit her?
Mm-hmm.
And were the kids there?
JJ was.
But Tylee was not.
Tylee was not.
Where was she?
I was told she was at BYU.
BYU in Provo?
Idaho.
BYU in Idaho. Would that have been
Damn near 5 minutes away. I kid you not. If that.
A normal answer, like a normal, okay, that makes sense type thing?
Well, I knew that Tylee had had her GED that she got when she was.
Okay, real quick, guys. I just want to say we're not here to hate on anybody or say that kind of stuff. We're obviously picking Melanie Gibb's stuff apart. I don't mind if you guys have your opinions about the LDS Church, but you guys know our threshold of like disrespect of Nate or disrespect of like when we start going at people's looks or start going down that hole. Let's just refrain from that in our chat. Let's keep this as civil as possible, and just be better than that. We don't want to be going at people. So you can have. I don't mind having an opinion. I hope you guys know this is a place for you to have an opinion. There's just certain lines that our mods are trying to watch for, but it's okay to have your opinion. This is the place I've tried to create where you can have a difference of opinion. It's just when things get disrespectful or we start hating or like creating an argumentative chat. That's not what we're here to do. So I just wanted to say that real quick. Our mods are doing great. You guys are doing a great job. But yeah, it's okay for everyone to have their opinion and say certain things. I think we'll know when the line is kind of there. So I just wanted to say that. And
16 or 17. I'm not sure exactly the age. And so it could have been plausible, but it didn't feel like it. There was definitely question marks. It was question marks for me. It didn't feel real. It didn't feel like the truth. I didn't know what to say about it. I wouldn't assume that she had done something to her, so it was kind of, I don't know. It was unusual.
But you didn't question her?
I didn't question it.
Was JJ with you on the walks?
No.
Where was he?
He was at home.
By himself?
His uncle was watching him.
Alex?
Yeah.
Okay. So JJ...
That's red flags. Alex never watched JJ. Ask anybody.
He's home with Alex, but there's no sign of Tylee.
Correct.
And how long did you stay with Lori? Was it for a week?
So Thursday to a Monday morning.
I'm assuming Tylee never called her. She never called Tylee.
She didn't even talk about her.
Never spoke about Tylee. Did she speak at all about JJ?
Yeah. I mean, he was all around us, and we were talking about him quite a bit, actually.
What did she say?
As I arrived on the Thursday, she had said that he had turned into a zombie the day before I got there. And she was pointing out.
And you knew exactly what that meant. So even if you can believe all of this other stuff, all right, let's just pretend that we believe any of this. You knew exactly what a zombie was. You knew exactly what the plans were for zombies, and you knew exactly what happens, and you already knew Tylee was missing, which I'm 99.99% sure she told you that she was dark at some point, because there's no way she withheld that if she told you that JJ was. So you knew what happens to zombies, and you knew people were missing. If you are either the most ignorant human being, or you're just plain it's over your head, or as I predict, you knew everything, and the only reason you changed your mind is because you're about to get thrown into the fire. And that's what this interview is.
Behaviors of his, like, look how he's doing this, that's unusual, or look how he's doing that. And she was trying to create uncertainty in me about what I saw his behavior. Like, what do you call that? Like a doubt. A doubt. And I was looking at him, and I thought, well, I don't know, he kind of looks like JJ to me, hyper and angry one minute and kind of chill or crying the next minute. Like, that's how his behaviors always were around me. I don't know if they were always like that, but that's how I noticed him when I was around both of them. And she just gave me a few scenarios of different things he would say. That sounded a little unusual. I didn't hear him say it, but she would share things like he said this or he said that.
Had she talked about zombies before? Mm-hmm. And what did she tell you before JJ? What did she teach you about zombies and belief in zombies?
So the first person, as we all know, is Charles, was considered one. And
what happened to Charles? You can't be that dumb.
Lori's attention by Chad on the phone call. I was in her house when that phone call came in, and he described to her that Charles is no longer Charles, that this unclean spirit that was friends with Charles on the earth, when they used to be friends, had now passed on, and now he is this unclean spirit on the earth roaming around, and now he's attached himself to Charles, and now he has entered his body and taken over it. So he's not really Charles anymore. He's now this guy named Ned Snyder. And so it was when she told me, and she seemed blown out by it. I could tell she was like, that is really different. And she told me, and I thought, that is very unusual. It was just, because Chad had this influence on people because he had visionary experience. He could see things. At least he said, he portrays that he did.
How did you, what credible thing did Chad Daybell do? That's where I come down to the absolute, zero tolerance. When did Chad prove that he was a visionary? When did he ever once predict the single thing correctly or do something that made you think he was a visionary? Where is that evidence?
And but I do believe that when you think somebody can see things or have visionary experiences about things, you tend to kind of believe them more than the average person. Because, if you ask me, I'd say I don't see anything, so you wouldn't take my point of view or my opinion. But if you had somebody that was really good at having visionary, because he often said that it was like the veil was open when he had his near-death experiences. So he often said that veil is open all the time. So he had this way of seeing things that Lori and I didn't have that we didn't have that gift of seeing. But I do have come to understand that that gift has been manipulated by the adversary. And so...
By Satan.
Absolutely.
She told him all of this.
She did.
And you're saying Lori even felt uncomfortable with that information that Chad had told her?
In the first day, I'll say the first day that she was trying to absorb it, I knew it was new for her.
And Chad's the one that called Lori and
Absolutely.
said, an evil spirit has attached himself to Charles.
That's right.
Named Ned.
That's right.
Any idea where that name came from?
I don't know how he got his information other than she would say he would often sit in his portal and receive revelation about people.
So he's sitting in the portal most likely and received that. And he's telling Lori, Charles has this evil spirit. He's a zombie?
I'm not sure if they used that word in the beginning.
Okay.
They didn't use that word right away. They probably said that someone has taken over his body named this Ned Snyder.
She tells him, he becomes worried, actually goes before a court and says she needs to have a mental, psychological evaluation.
Correct.
Did you go with her to that evaluation?
I did.
She did.
And what was that like?
They received her and she said, she passed with flying colors and she got out quickly. And
so Melanie Gibb goes with her. Let's just put context here because this is going to piss me the F off. I'm going to lose it if we don't bring the context here. So here's what happens, okay? Melanie Gibb knows everything that's happening with Chad and Lori. She's sitting in the house constantly, okay? And as she's sitting in the house, she's hearing phone calls between Chad and Lori, right? And at that point, Lori's already chosen Melanie as a best friend. So, there's no, I highly doubt details were spared. I'm just being 1,000% honest. I think anybody with their best friend talks, very comfortably and they kind of know everything that's going on in that person's life. That's kind of the point of a best friend and I'm talking about these two were together constantly all the time, right? And so for her to act like she didn't know what was going on with every step with Charles, knowing he's a zombie, knowing the plan, knowing Alex at that point, all of it, it's just absolutely bananas. And so for her to know that Charles is sending her to get an evaluation, she goes in there and lies, obviously, because she's a manipulator. And, it's ridiculous because she knew exactly what it was. And I'm getting pissed off. She knows exactly what's happening right now. She knows exactly what was going on that day. I told you that day that was what happened with me, Tylee, and Kelsey specifically when we went to go drop or get JJ's medication and that whole situation happened. That's just kind of that made it hard for me. I was mad at Charles for talking to Tylee the way he did, but I understand now how distressed he was. But to me, I didn't understand how distressed he was then. So I was like, how can you talk to Tylee like that? And then I called him and addressed it, but I did not know what he was going through. And he tried to protect me, the image that I have of my mother. So I don't know. It was just a very confusing thing, but let me tell you who was not confused is Melanie Gibb.
I waited on the outside for her. and then Tylee is actually the one that picked us up from there.
And when you say passed with flying colors, do you know what they did? Was it just an exam where she filled out a questionnaire or she met with a doctor?
They went in the back room and they just talked to her about all kinds of stuff and asked her all kinds of questions. She didn't tell me in detail all the things I probably didn't want to know. But yeah, she seemed that she wasn't evaluated as mentally ill. So they said that she's like, oh, you're fine. We know that you're not mentally ill. I mean, that's what she told me that they said to her. So. Do
you think she was honest with them in her religious beliefs, or did she lie and give them the answers they wanted to hear?
I don't know. I don't know what they asked her. I mean, I didn't. I should have asked her that, but I didn't.
So she gets out of there, and is that when the whole incident with her purse happened?
Shortly after.
And tell me about that. She accused Charles of stealing her purse from the car, right?
Correct, right. So she went to drop off JG at the school that he goes to. He was out of town, so his truck was moved from the airport, and so when he came back from his flight, there was no truck, and so then I don't know how he got around.
What would you do if you came home and you knew you parked your car and literally somebody took your car and you're stranded?
Anything, maybe called a friend. I don't know what he did, and then I got to remember the details of this. I know she had JJ. She dropped him off at school. And then he came to the school, and then he opened her car door, took her purse, and then took off. And then she got in the car, and she didn't see him. I don't believe she saw him. And then she's like, her purse is missing.
As all of these things are happening, there's a lot of
what the
bizarre.
hell is funny? Why do they all laugh? Because you know why they laugh? Because this is not real life to them, or whatever the case may be. And yeah.
I know.
Incidents. Did you ever think, what is going on here? How can there be this much drama in one person?
It was a lot of drama, and I would ask them, like, why do these things keep happening to you? Because I have never been around so much drama in my life. Yeah. I'm kind of a chill person, and so it just seemed like there was one drama after another drama, and it never ended. And so I just thought, wow, this person. I used to say to her, why is everybody in your life turning into zombies? Like, why is everybody after you? Like, why? I don't understand. And she would say, well, it's because Satan really hates me, and I'm because of my exaltation on the level that I'm exalted to, they're coming straight after me.
So anyone that would disagree with her or cause her any sort of problem would become a zombie?
Pretty much. Or either considered to be dark. They're a little bit different, but that's another discussion.
Yeah. From what I understand, Lori knew how many zombies were in every state.
Yeah.
And she could tell who was a zombie and who wasn't.
Well, not their name. Like, she couldn't know the whole world's names, so she would just have a number Chad would give her. Like, I guess he would receive revelation on, okay, there's this many. So it was their commission, though.
You're acting like you weren't part of it. You were part of the commission. You were part of the team. You were wearing the jersey.
To get rid of all the zombies before, tribulations came upon us. That was their goal.
And how would they get rid of the zombies?
Through some kind of prayer that they would do, which they believed was effective, because they'd go back and, check in the portal to how many died, and the number would come up, 10,000 died or whatever, but there was no way of knowing it was real. Does that make sense? I mean, you have to say, does that make sense, Nate? I know.
The fuck was that laugh?
And how would they get rid of the zombies?
I've never heard a squeal like that ever.
Through some kind of prayer that they would do, which they believed was effective, because they'd go back and, check in the portal to how many died, and the number would come up, 10,000 died or whatever, but there was no way of knowing it was real. Does that make sense? I mean, you have to say, does that make sense, Nate?
You knew exactly what it was. Exactly. You were in the castings. You did the circle seance. What do you mean? You literally believed this to the T. You were holding hands seancing. Against Charles, mind you. I'm trying not to fill the swear barrel.
I know.
So let me get this straight. They're saying there's 10,000 zombies in Idaho. Go into the portal, say the prayer, come out and say, oh, we got rid of 1,000 of them.
No.
Something like that.
No, you know what
Let's talk a little bit about Charles, and then we'll get back to September when you got to the house. Because from what I understand, Lori received a revelation that Charles was supposed to die in an accident on his way home from Texas.
Correct.
He didn't die. So what was her reaction at that point?
Well, I asked her, I'm like, why didn't he die? You were told he was supposed to die. Why didn't he die?
So your casual question was, oh, well, why is he not dead? Why didn't he die? That's weird. He was supposed to die. Do you hear how casual this is? Absolutely zero care in the world for any. I can tell you this for a fact. Melanie Gibb gives no shits about my entire family besides Lori. That was it. I promise you that.
And she said, well, I think she went to Chad and asked because I don't think she knew the answer to that. And so he let her know that the accident that was supposed to happen didn't because of people's choices. So when things didn't go according to plan or according to a timing, it was only because of agency, and it would change. Oh, it's because somebody changed their agency. Very inconsistent.
And the night before Charles died, didn't she call Alex and say, come and stay with me? Do you know? Mm-hmm. She did.
Yeah.
And then
I'm hearing all kinds of conflicting reports about that, because I think we just heard a testimony that Summer told Alex to go spend the night over there. Then we're hearing that Melanie Gibb was there that morning and was told Charles is on his way. You've got to go. There's a lot of conflicting things around who was at the house and what the actual reason why people were there, right? Obviously, we know it. At the end of the day, it doesn't matter. We know it's all premeditated murder, so it doesn't matter. But at the end of the day, it's just weird that there's so many different little pieces of that story.
Alex shot Charles. What do you think happened there?
I didn't know about it till like 4 days after it happened. She called me and she said, hey, did you see the news? I'm like, I don't watch the news.
Wait a second. Your best friend did not tell you for 4 days that her husband had been shot and killed.
Correct. I found out through her, though. She did call me and let me know. And she said, have you not heard and watched the news? I said, I don't watch the news.
I don't believe that for not even half. You cannot sell me that. You can't sell me that.
And she said, Charles was shot. And I'm like, what? And so tell me what happened. And anyway, so I got to visit with her for a while, and I think she gave me the rendition that she gave the police. You know, it sounded, what I've heard, it sounds like the same thing as, he came over. And the question that I had, that part of me was
so
why?
let's backtrack here. Okay? Let's backtrack. I don't know why people ask about, I don't know what this pool party exists. I don't know where this rumor came from. I got there at 7 something because I got off at work at 7, had to drive all the way to Chandler, and that took me at least 20 minutes. And I was there for maybe, I don't know, an hour, and there was no one else there. So I don't know what that pool party thing is. I don't know why that's even a thing. If somebody heard it, they heard it. I cannot dispute or tell you anything about that. All I know is it must have happened after I left, because there was not one other person in that house. But at the end of the day, this is her who has seanced, who has believed in the darkness, who has prayed against Charles and JJ, because she wanted Charles and JJ to get in a car accident. They wanted them to pass away, and they knew that they were hijacked. She said, I was there when Chad Daybell told Lori that Charles was no longer there, and he gets shot. In the rendition, as you just mentioned, there's no way she didn't know. That's just what it is. Oh, thank you, Grammy, for the swear jar. I love that. Thank you.
Why is he coming to get you and kill you? Like, I don't understand why Charles wants to kill you.
She told you Charles showed up to kill her.
That was his way. He was coming down from Texas.
To kill her.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why she had called Alex the night before to come over to the house. Mm-hmm. And that he shot Charles in self-defense.
Correct.
You knew, though, that she had told you months earlier that Charles was possessed of a zombie.
Correct.
So did you think, well, there's more here?
Right, because if he's coming down, that's why I'm like, well, what, like as a person that would perceive, the public wouldn't perceive him as a zombie, right? Like, what kind of reason could he give anybody for coming down to kill her? Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. And so she just said, well, they're after me. And I said, well, why? She said, well, for insurance. Like, I have $3 million of insurance on my head. And I'm like, really?
Well, this makes sense because she has $2 million, not 3.
She said she had $3 million of insurance on her head. Mm-hmm. Did she ever talk to you about Charles's insurance?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
What did she say?
She said that he had, I think, about $1 million. And
here it is. That she has a very easy tell for me personally. It's slow. She's very blah, 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 until she has to slow down, and then she has to think about what she's gonna say, and she downturns, and you can just hear it. You can just hear it.
Knew when he passed away that she thought she'd get the money.
So she talked about how when Charles dies, I'm going to get $1 million.
I don't know if she was 100% sure, because she thought maybe possibly it could have been switched from her to Kay. So she wasn't sure if she was really going to get it or not.
But it was something she was thinking about and talking about.
Yeah, she didn't know about it.
And then when she found out it had been switched to Kay, what was that conversation like?
Well, she wasn't overjoyed about it. And
By the way, at the end of this live, we'll do a Q&A with you guys. Just because there's things, I'm sure there's just people who have questions, and so we'll do a little bit of a Q&A just to clear things up.
Like, well, Kay has the money now, but she also believed that Kay was a zombie as well. So she just believed that they were all against her. That was her belief system. You know, as time passed, she's like, I'll get something from, when a spouse dies, you get Medicare, I think, something like that.
Some sort of benefit.
Yeah, and he was a bit older than her, so she knew that she could get something still, so that she wasn't completely left without anything.
And she brought that up, that she would get money.
Yeah, because I was like, what are you going to do? How are you going to take, the typical things that you talk about when people pass away, like how are you going to provide for yourself?
We heard that she was also getting money as a single mom, money from Tylee and JJ because JJ had disabilities.
So I know Tylee received money from her father's death. And yeah, I think so. I think JJ did too. I don't remember talking about that too often.
We figured it out, and it was around $6,000 a month, tax-free, that she got between the three.
Yeah, I think she mentioned something like she could get that much amount. Something sounds familiar.
When you don't know something, don't just keep rambling on that it sounds familiar. I don't understand that.
What was your thought when you heard all of this talk about zombies?
I did question it. I mean, all of us did. I mean, I sat and talked to Alex about that a few weeks before he passed away. I'm like, I'm not sure. I'm not too sure about this zombie thing. He goes, I 100% believe it.
He said he 100% believed it?
Yes. So Alex really did believe.
Do you think that when he shot Charles, that was in his mind, that
Yeah.
Charles is a zombie,
Yeah.
and I must get rid of him?
Yeah, because he really felt to protect his sister. That was his duty.
To protect his sister. Mm-hmm. So by the time you get up to Rexburg in September, this zombie talk has become normal, or at least you've heard it before.
Correct.
And so let's pick up where we were a minute ago with JJ. She tells you, right when you get there, JJ's a zombie?
Correct.
And starts to point out things that she believed had zombified him.
Right.
And you're thinking as an outsider, what?
I'm looking at him and trying to discern. And it looks normal to me. I couldn't tell. So I was like, there was a lot of doubt there, obviously. I mean, it's hard to believe that completely. I don't ever even believe that Lori completely ever believed it.
You don't?
I think she, like when you want to believe something sometimes and you listen to people tell you, like maybe she was listening to Chad, or maybe because of why it was happening, sometimes you really want to believe stuff just because you want the outcome is much what you're desiring to have. And so, yeah, I don't know if she, I think she believed it to a certain level.
I have no idea what you just said.
That, but I don't know. I'm not confident that she 100% believed it.
It sounds to me that Chad was kind of calling the shots.
She would say, he's so much better at getting revelation than me. So I used to get a lot, but I rely upon him a lot more now. So she trusted his because she was not considered a visionary, right? So he would tell her, these people, whoever was around her, these people are doing this, they're doing that, they're dark, or they're zombie or whatever. He was the one that she would call and ask those questions. She said she wasn't very good at getting the answers.
Do you think Chad told her that JJ had become a zombie?
I think so, yeah.
So she tells you all
got a freaking gust of wind coming through right now.
Things. You're kind of like, he looks normal to me, looks like normal JJ.
Yeah.
Did it worry you at all that, oh no, look what happened when Charles became a zombie?
She did not care at all. This group was the most frolicky, dance and tiptoe around and play. Like when I tell you like a carnival, like just absolutely so disconnected from reality and care. I guarantee you she did not care about this with JJ. She didn't care about Tylee or JJ. And she never showed that one time, not one single time that I see with my own two eyes, Melanie Gibb even interact with either one of those children. So
something might happen to him?
I didn't think she would do that because that's her boy, We had actually a talking about this. She goes, well, I need to, it's time for JJ to, I don't know how she worded it, but it was something to the effect, it's time for, he's in the way of our mission, so we need to.
She told you he's in the way of your mission and he's a zombie and then he disappears and you think he's with Kay Woodcock and you lied for her? I'm calling even more BS than from your testimony now because of that. She already told you he's got to go.
Send him to Kay's house. That was kind of like the idea. Is what could we do? And so we talked about Kay and we talked about some of her family members that could actually take him on. And so we talked about, what that conversation would be like with Kay. And she wasn't sure if Kay would really receive him. And so we talked.
It's such a lie. I would have taken JJ and Tylee at 22 years old. We would have figured it out.
Talked about just different ideas about, him going there. And so that was the plan that I knew of, is he's going to Kay's house. She told me that. I know that from what I saw in one of the video clippings, that she also told a neighbor that as well. And so that's what I believe was going to happen to him. So I left thinking that that's where he was going with his case for sure. I didn't doubt that.
So as her friend, you're saying, okay, he's a zombie. He's in the way of your mission. She said that. So you guys
Exactly. Thank you.
came up with a plan of why don't we let Kay take care of him or someone in Kay's family.
Yeah.
Had you dealt with Kay before?
I met her briefly, but I didn't interact with her.
How'd you
Okay.
meet her?
It was like, hi, how are you, I'm Melanie? And that was about it.
So even though Lori had an issue with Kay, she was willing that day at least to say, yeah, we'll send JJ to Kay.
Correct.
You leave Rexburg
That's right.
thinking JJ's going to go to Kay's house.
That's right.
You never saw Tylee the whole weekend.
Correct.
Because she was at college, allegedly. What happens from there?
This is where there's a big turn in my life. This is when it hits the fan. This is the part that I hate talking about.
Yeah.
This was hard for me. I'm sure I talked to her a few times on the phone. She did express that he went to Kay's house. Okay, so I don't know when she told me, but I would say within a short period.
And then you asked Alex, where's JJ? And he goes, you don't want to know. And all of you hear that in the group, from what we understand.
Of time after I left.
She called and said he's at Kay's.
Right. And she said, oh yeah, we met up in the airport and she received him and he's going to go stay. I mean, she gave me the whole story.
You know, and also, though, we found out that she said even that she was going to tell Kay, Lori was going to tell Kay that she has cancer, and that's why she has to get rid of it. So you already knew she was already lying. You knew she'd lie about a lie, and she'd lie on top of that lie. So this is such BS. You never thought he went to Kay. The zombie, you know, multiple about all. Oh my gosh.
Story. So I just, I believed it. And it's about Thanksgiving and everything changed. I thought he was safe, and I get a call from Chad 2 days before Thanksgiving. I still feel emotional about it. I said, Melanie, it's Chad. When the police call, don't pick up the phone. And my heart just dropped. I was so confused. I'm like, what? He says, yeah, the police are over at Lori's house checking on JJ. And I'm like, JJ's not with Kay? No. My heart dropped deeper. And I just knew something was wrong, but I didn't know. I didn't understand. Like, when you believe your friends are good people, you couldn't believe that they could do something like that.
What was Chad's demeanor like on the phone? Was he stoic? What was he like?
He was very nervous.
He was nervous.
He was very scared. He did not sound himself. Very unsure, very quivery almost. Yeah, it was a hard moment.
So that call comes completely out of the blue.
Out of the blue. Wasn't expecting that at all.
He says, don't pick up the phone when the police call. He's scared. He's nervous. He says, they're going to call you because they're at Lori's house.
And she's going to tell them that JJ's with you.
She's going to tell the cops that JJ's with you in Arizona.
No, I was in Utah at the time.
You were in Utah.
Yeah.
First of all, that's a bombshell that's just thrown.
I can't even describe how I felt. They put me in a very awkward situation.
Yeah, it was pretty awkward when you ended up doing it. And it was pretty awkward that you only had a big turn in your life when they screwed your ass over. But all this time, this whole time, no sighting of Tylee. You did not see JJ after that day. You kept believing that he was with Alex, as you know Alex doesn't have kids or care about kids at all. What a fucking lie. Such a lie. You know it's a lie. I can't even sit through you talking about, and it's always about you. It's about you.
Were you able to even question him, or was your mind just...
I was questioning in my mind, but verbally, there was nothing coming out, really. I did say, why? She said, well, Kay is trying to kidnap him. And I said, how do you know that? Well, through emails. You know the emails.
Wait. So the logic is, I'm going to give JJ to Kay. Oh, he's not with Kay? Well, Kay's trying to kidnap him. You just told... Not automatically, because then any logical person would say, well, why would Kay try to kidnap a kid that you already said you were going to surrender? That makes no sense. So now just turn it back on Kay, right? That's just the easiest way to go for these people, is find a person and make it their fault.
I said, I have not read your emails. What do they say? She said, Kay had mentioned, it's not like I'm going to kidnap JJ or anything. And I did think to myself, that doesn't sound like a threat.
How soon after did Lori then call?
I can't recall, but it was soon after.
Soon after. And what does she say?
She sounded like everything was wonderful and great. She had an upbeat voice, and I was like, wow, she's positive. And it gave me a little hope that, hey, maybe, it's not what I'm thinking the worst.
What did she say?
She said, hey, everything's fine, everything's okay. And I mean, I can't quote exactly all the things I said. So she led me to believe that everything was fine and that, you know, that Jay.
And you knew exactly what happened all the way up to Charles. And then Tylee's disappeared. And now JJ is, now you're soothed by Lori's high-pitched voice. This is, the more she talks, the worse it gets.
JJ was, I'm trying to remember how she worded it, that she was protecting JJ, something to the fact that he, you know, they were not just Kay, but it felt like many people were after him. And so she was trying to protect him. That's what she told me. But I've talked to the police before. I was like, when you get a gut feeling, that's real, right? And they're like, yeah, you got to go on gut instinct.
And what was your gut feeling?
If something was terribly wrong. I mean, it just stayed in there for a long time, that gut feeling. It did not feel comfortable. Something was telling me something's off here.
You're telling me that your boyfriend, the night of JJ's unaliving, has a bad dream about this exact situation out of nowhere, and you then have a bad feeling about something after these phone calls. The only bad feeling you had is that it was all coming to a head, and you knew what you knew.
I wanted to believe her. I didn't want to think that she would do anything like that. I really, really wanted to believe her.
What did she ask you to do?
She asked me to tell the police that JJ was with me, and that when I went, because I was going to go and drive down to Arizona for Thanksgiving, and that he was going to go with me, which I didn't know any of this, right? It's all new to me. That she had made it sound like we had arranged it or something. But anyway, he was going to go down to Arizona with me, and she was going to come down there later and pick him up. So that was a foreign idea to me. I'd never heard of that before, so it was very... I can't even tell you how uncomfortable. You know, after I get to Arizona and everything, I was talking to Alex because I wanted to meet with him. And he goes, I cannot believe she threw you under the bus like that.
So Alex came to your defense.
And I said, I can't believe she did either. I said, I can't believe she said that. I don't, that was
Threw you under the bus. There you go. Threw you under the bus.
Smart.
Tell me about what she asked you to do at the movie theater.
So she said, I've told the police that you were Frozen 2 with JJ, and to get your cell phone out and just take a picture of random kids running around to make it look like you had them with you. And I was thinking to myself, nah, I don't make stuff up like that. I don't do that. So I'm just in shock still. I really, really was in a shock type of, it's just, you know, everybody's listening. Everybody has different opinions, what they're going to think about.
Tell her fucking no. Say no. I'm not doing that. The hell are you trying to do? Where the hell is JJ at? I'm not dealing with this. Oh yeah, you know what? Probably should call the police and tell them what I know. Not, oh well, I just don't know what to do now. I'm just gonna take a picture of random kids at the movie theater.
About this, right? But in that moment, I really did not know what to say.
And you weren't in the right frame of mind to question her.
Right, I wasn't.
And so you hang up that call. Did she say anything else other than go to the movie theater, take pictures of random kids, and talk about the Arizona plan?
I know that at one point we talked about her going on a trip with Chad's children to California. She might have mentioned it during that time, or I called her shortly after that when I was driving down to Arizona. It was between that conversation and that, I can't recall, but that they were going to go on a family vacation and that they were just going with the kids, his kids.
How quickly did the police call?
Within half an hour to an hour.
Melanie says she spoke with the police that day and the focus of their investigation turned back to Lori and Rexburg. Okay. Lori told Melanie that JJ was in danger. Kay and others were trying to kidnap him. And for Melanie's safety, Lori could not say where he was. What are these title cards here?
After thinking and pondering and talking to a really good friend, I'm like, there's something off. And I admitted, I said, I'm very, very concerned about this zombie idea. I really don't believe it. And my friend,
you don't believe it, but you prayed and seanced with a group of people multiple times. Oh my gosh.
I don't think it's true either. Then we talked till 5 o'clock in the morning. I mean, we talked about everything, the belief structure and all these different things. We talked about all kinds of things about these doctrines. We talked about many things and how they did not fit the pattern that the scriptures teach. I often think about when Jesus Christ was on the earth. He healed people. He cast out evil spirits. He did not kill people. And if they did have an unclean spirit, he was able to get rid of it. And those people were okay afterwards. There was no pattern of this behavior. He was always sharing where they were inclusive and hiding. That does not walk on a...
Then why isn't this logic applied back then?
path that is light. So darkness is always done in secretive. And I came to understand that. I'm like, this is actually it has been very hush-hush. And that's not how God works. You know, the mysteries of God, which they were always trying to unfold, are about bringing people to Jesus Christ. That's what the mysteries are there. Part of them are about that. They were not bringing that. That was not what was happening. It was not leading people to Christ. It was taking people away from him. Or maybe they thought they had this pretend relationship with him. And it led to people dying. That does not sound like that scripture talks about God does not work in darkness. You don't have to be running and hiding when you're transparent and doing the right thing. You don't have to. When you're telling the truth, you have nothing to worry about. So
don't give me a damn morale lesson right now, and just nonsensical talking.
One of the feelings that I did want to share to many people listening is that there are many people other than Chad that believe these teachings of many lives or multiple probations within our own church or either close groups that are affiliated. And I want you to decide, as people that believe this, does having this information make you a better person? Does it make you loyal to your spouse? Does it make you feel like you're better than other people? Because of this information, I'll just say it this way, Nate. If this idea of multiple probations had not been introduced, nobody would have ever died. Because they would have never thought they were married before. This is dangerous doctrine.
You're here to correct the doctrine for the LDS people believing this? Is that where we're at?
This is not how he works. He works on a pattern. I am the same yesterday, today, and forever. He does not make exceptions to the rule. He has no respecter of persons. And when we want things, we do things that are not always the best. All of us do on this planet.
Stop preaching.
And the thing that's interesting is we've all been deceived to some level. Everybody. So this is a world to learn truth and error. I just got to experience something at a very different level. So I got to see something, what I would call a secret combination, unfold in front of me.
Mm-hmm. Very special still, right?
And I got to see it with my own eyes. Now, I didn't see people die or anything like that, but I got to see the workings of it.
You knew exactly what this shit was. Don't play me. You knew exactly what it was.
This is what this is.
And it sounds like that call from Lori and Chad and the police, that was kind of your awakening.
Oh, yes, absolutely.
After that long talk with your friend till 5 a.m, when you went through everything Chad had taught you,
right,
and all of that you said, this is wrong, and you called the police, and is that when you told them everything you knew?
Oh yeah, I told them everything, just like I'm talking to you. I just let it out. And the interesting thing is that everything I share with them is documented, right? Was before anything came out on the news. So people can say, well, Melanie learned this from other things, maybe. Oh no, Melanie didn't.
This was back in December?
This is back in December, the early part of December, before the first release, the press release, because we talked about the dates to make sure, I was, and I was accurate, and I knew that I was, but I just wanted to make sure.
That would have happened with a lawyer. What would happen is that if you probably went to a lawyer, and to be honest with you, I've never sat down with a lawyer, so I don't know, but I'm going to go ahead and just say, from everything we've learned from court, one thing to be very clear about is dates, times, places, people. So she probably did all of this friend conversation with her lawyer friend, who therefore she said, okay, here's everything I know. And he goes at the end of the conversation, well, Melanie, you're effed and you need to figure out a way to stay above this. And that's when she had to make a decision on what she was going to do next. Guarantee it. It was not just this innocent conversation with a friend.
I said, look, this is stuff I know. So when I go to the police and share all these things about multiple probations, they were married before, people or zombies and things like that, they were not surprised when they were looking at me. They were like,
the police weren't.
And I was like this, like, it was hard to say it. I couldn't even say the word zombie when I first talked to them. It was just too painful to say it because I'm like, oh, this is so jacked up. And yet they go, we've heard stuff like this. It's okay. We've heard all kinds of stuff coming, We've been police for a long time. We've heard a lot.
And so you knew at that point that this was foolish and you were embarrassed.
Yeah, absolutely. I said, I'm gullible.
And the reason that you want to make it clear that it's not like
but you just, okay, so now we're backtracking saying you're gullible, meaning you believed it. But you're acting like you didn't believe it, and that's bothering me.
All this up over the past few weeks. You knew this and said this back in December.
Oh, yeah.
Before any of this came out.
Absolutely. And I was on her team, right? Not on the opposition's team.
Team
so
Lori.
I wasn't, you know what I mean? If we were going to call them teams, I wasn't affiliated with Charles or anybody he was affiliated with. I was only affiliated with this small group of friends. And When I shared everything I did, it was the same things you could read on those court documents that Charles presented, which I didn't know all that stuff was on there, because they started exposing that on the news. So the stories, for all those that do believe in Chad and love him, and I love him too, and I know his family loves him, but I knew about these things before the news released it, and it is documented. So
who cares? That makes it worse. That makes it 10 times worse. And you just said you love Chad. What the hell are you on?
I am only here to share the truth because of those that passed away and that justice needs to be served. My hope is that they will look into their hearts and start to repent of the things and confess the things they did.
Chad and Lori.
Chad and Lori. But it's hard to do that when if you're Lori, think about this, and my heart breaks for her. She's got to admit that these people are dead and it was because of their teachings and their ideas that they had these things happen. It's hard to admit that. You would have to admit that you actually had something to do with the death of your family. You know what I'm saying? Does that make sense?
And
so
her
it's hard.
children.
So it would be hard to say my belief systems are false, because then she would have to say, yeah, this happened. I do feel sorrow for everybody involved, both sides, because everybody's hurting from this.
Who's the both sides? Who is the both sides? It's very hard to follow what she means.
She's in the jail now. She doesn't get to be with Chad, who she loves. That's what she wanted.
Who gives a fuck? They murdered multiple people, serial killers. And you feel bad that they have to go to jail for that and they can't be together, two little cheating lovebirds? They should be in jail to save people's lives. They're a danger to society. That's literally why they're there. You feel bad that they don't get to be together?
So badly. And now she can't even be with him. It was a fatal attraction that led to their separation and people passing away.
They didn't fucking pass away, Melanie. How do you lead to people passing away? You don't lead to that. People pass away is very different than them being killed. It led to passing away.
It's a tragic story.
One of the people we haven't talked about is Tammy. How did you learn that Tammy had died?
Someone texted me, a friend, not any person that was socially close, but just a friend. She said, hey, just want to let you know she passed on. And then I said, how did you find out? She said, Facebook.
What did you think when you saw that she had died?
I thought, oh my gosh, she died. That's what they said was going to happen. I wonder what happened.
So did you think it was part of the plan?
I didn't know how they did it, but I knew it was part of the plan, that she was supposed to pass away. I mean, other people knew she was supposed to pass away because, Chad knew this information for, quite a while.
So she passes away in October. What did you think when you found out Chad and Lori quickly fled to Hawaii? Didn't you find out because she sent you their wedding photos on your email?
I knew that they were going to be married as soon as she passed away. I mean, I knew that.
And you're kind of questioning it as to, this is odd. She's here.
It is odd. It's odd. The whole thing is odd.
When she did die, though, and they went to Hawaii and got married so quickly, did you question that, or was that just part of the plan?
Well, that was part of their plan. Their whole goal was to get together because, they expressed to me many times that Tammy would be okay with this as she passed on. She may not remember it now, but as she passed...
You're not that gullible. No one's that gullible. Hey, my wife, who just passed away, would be fine with this, and the kids are happy, and everything's just good times. Everyone's having a good time. Everyone's happy about this. This marriage between Chad and Lori is meant to be. It's God sent, and this is what's supposed to happen.
She had a mission to fulfill on that side, and so he felt that...
Thank you, Mary. It's coming out. I'm not gonna lie. I've listened to her, trying to understand her. It's very hard to follow what she says, but that is the ultimate disrespect, because you literally just said you're here to honor or do this for the people who passed away. But then you come around and say how sad you are for everybody and how Lori and Chad don't get to be together, and just minimize Tammy, minimize Charles, minimize the kids, and just throw that kind of behind the same redundant thing of how you feel bad for Lori and Chad.
They both felt that was where she was supposed to go. She was move on and fulfill her mission. So it didn't seem unusual to either one of them that, she passed on, because that was the plan, is that they were going to be together.
After she dies, after they get married, you get that call, don't answer the phone. They call you or communicate at all with you during that week?
I called once on my way to Arizona, and I was concerned for the safety because that's what they led me to believe. So I wanted to have a prayer. I was like, let's just say a prayer, pull over on the side of the road, let's say a prayer. And Chad was very nervous and didn't seem it settled at all. And she seemed fine.
So you were still on their side?
Yeah. Yeah.
But Chad was nervous?
Yes, he was.
Lori was acting like it was a normal day?
Yep.
So you spoke the one time over the course of that week?
No, I spoke to her when I decided that there's something going on that's awfully wrong. And so a friend of mine called both of them. So I called Chad's phone, and I knew she would answer because I didn't think any of her phones were working anymore. And so I just said, I have no testimony that you've shared the things, your own personal experiences that are sacred. I have no testimony of that. It doesn't fit the pattern that I see. That's, the pattern of things I've seen within our own church. And I had a hard time speaking, honestly. It was a very hard conversation with me. I said very little. And I said, could you just please tell us where the kids are, if they're safe? Why didn't, no, I said, I think the first question is why haven't you told us where the kids are?
Don't act like you didn't know. Don't act like you didn't know. You might not have known exactly where they were. You knew for a fact that they were not okay.
Well, for your safety, we cannot tell you. And that just was alarm for me because I was like, well, what safety? Why am I in danger? I didn't feel like I was in danger. They wouldn't answer us, of course. And I really didn't have a testimony of the things. I never got that confirmation that what the things they shared with me are true or not. So that we hung up with that conversation. I went to talk to the police after that. And once I talked to them, I basically had a long conversation with both of them about a lot of personal feelings about, I'm concerned for you. I'm concerned for your salvation, the things that you've done. I said, this is not light, this is darkness. And I asked again, why did you tell the police I had the kids? And she said, well, I told them because of, safety of JJ and these different answers. And so she did, share that she lied about it. And I asked a little bit about a few other things. Can't recall everything. It was kind of a long conversation, and I was very uncomfortable talking to her. It was a disturbing conversation.
Is that when you said that they were evil?
Yeah.
And how did they react to that?
They didn't like that very much. I just continued to tell her that I was concerned for them. And I am, and I was.
Was this call more out of pleading of, listen, I'm concerned for you, just say where the kids are, basically, I don't want to say calling them to repentance, but in a way saying, you've gone astray.
Yeah.
No.
Was that?
No. I guarantee it. She had a conversation with the lawyer, and her first advice was, you need to see if you can get some kind of confession or something from Chad and Lori, because you were close to them. The only way you're going to get out of this is if you do something drastic. That way, when you go to the police, you can say, I've got this to give to you. I come bearing gifts. That is why that happened. I guarantee it.
It was many feelings. That was some of them. Yeah.
Everything just came out.
Just a lot of things.
And that's the last time you spoke to them?
Yes.
And then Alex died.
Yes, that was definitely a mystery for me.
How did you find out he had passed?
He was living with his wife, his new wife, right? And we all were in the same ward. And so the bishop called and said, why is there cop cars around Zulinda's house? And I said, well, that was an interesting conversation. And we chatted for a bit, and I explained just a little bit. And then he calls me back and says, he died. I'm like, what? That was that completely threw me. I was like, I had no concept of how that happened. None at all. And I said, what happened? He said he didn't know. And I said, I'll talk to you later when I get back from my trip. We have a lot to talk about.
Your bishop didn't know any of the background?
No. Mm-mm. So I filled him in when we got back. He was very patient with me.
I bet that was quite a Chad.
Yeah, he was very patient.
How are you not excommunicated? Let's just be real. How are you not excommunicated from the church? Let's be 100% honest. LDS does have they have their rules. She probably just didn't tell them. I don't know. That would be excommunication if you're this deep off the rails. But I'm sure when you have the narrative, exactly what I think happened with Chad and Lori lying about their temple recommend is exactly what I think happened with her. I think that she just never told them everything, just like she's doing with Nate right now. She was just calling for the repentance. You could have done that at any point between 2019 or 2018 Christmas through the entirety of 2019. You could have called them to repentance. You could have called them on this stuff. Nothing in your life changed until they called you into a position where you didn't want to be with the cops. How about that?
But I was grateful it was him.
What did you think had happened to Alex?
I had many different ideas. I thought, did he kill himself? Did he?
Why would he kill himself?
He did realize that I was going to tell the police. That was made known to him. And so I thought, maybe he really, once he heard my doubt in all of this, maybe his heart was pricked. Maybe he realized that, oh my goodness, I've been a part of something that's not good.
That does not make sense. What she knows. She just told you she knew. Because we know what Alex did. She just told you that she knew why Alex would have been pricked. Why would it matter to Alex? Being deceived would prick your heart and make you scared? Why? She just told you straight up she knew. That's just my opinion. I can't see past that at all. Joanne says, in memory of JJ, Tylee, Charles, and Tammy, may their memories be an eternal blessing. Thank you so much.
And I mean, those are different thoughts that I had. Or maybe, you know, somebody could have tried to kill him. I didn't know. I just really...
Why would someone try to kill him? She's telling you right here, right now. Clear as day.
Did not know. I was guessing all over the place, just like you were probably. How in the world did he die? I really didn't know. I mean, I asked the police, but they didn't tell me.
Well, we know that Alex died.
By the way, she just said this was all before they knew all the information. Before the press release. She put all this together. Why would she think somebody was trying to kill Alex?
According to the autopsy, of a blood clot in his lung. Mm-hmm. Do you think there was anything suspicious there?
I don't know.
From what we understand, Alex would do anything for Lori. There was nothing too great for him to do.
Hold on. Tess just said this was before they found the kids. What? No effing shot that's possible. This is before she's already mentioned them as gone. Multiple times. So just for everyone's timeline, we found out on June 19th. Of 2020. On June 9th. June 9th, right? 9th, not 19th. 9th or 19th. I'm sorry. I don't know how I'm forgetting that date. I think it's the 9th. This is before... That's not real. 90 times she said, I've talked about the kids in past tense.
And there was no task too good.
9 days before they found. Holy shit. That changes the context. That changes everything. She's been talking this whole time about the kids. That's insane.
Because his faith was so great in God.
Yeah.
Is that how your encounter with them was as far as their relationship?
I think mostly. I mean, I don't know if he'd do everything for her, but I think he would do a lot of things for him. I think he just felt like a good brother, a big brother kind of figure that wanted to protect his sister. I mean, they had a lot of fun joking around with each other, and they just had a good relationship.
Were you able to talk to Lori after her brother died, or you had quit communication at that point?
Yeah.
Let's fast forward to January. You see them in Hawaii when we saw them at a beach resort. What did you think when you saw the video of me trying to talk to them outside of the resort?
It was hard. It's hard for me. It's just hard for me to watch the whole story. Like, I was in that place of just like, oh, I don't even want to see the news right now. So, so when I saw that, I had many feelings. I thought, this does not look good for her. And
there you go. Fucking right there. All it's about is Lori. She cares about Lori. I'm telling you, I don't have to prove it. Watch the video. All she cares about is Lori, how she looks. She doesn't even care that the kids are gone. It's so evident.
And, some of the thoughts I had is if these kids, and please, everybody use their own reasoning for this idea, but, if you really do believe your children are being harmed, or, you think they're going to be kidnapped and you're worried about them, you would be happy to tell anybody and everybody in the police about that. You would not talk and trying to, have no comment to you as you talk to them. I mean, you would say, I appreciate it. I would think you would interact if you really felt that they were, I know if they were my kids and I had to put them in protection, I would be like, yeah, my kids are in protection because crazy people are going to go kill them or whatever. I would want you to know that so that at least I didn't look like...
Who's trying to kill the kids? No one ever brought up kids being killed, ever. You said that.
Everybody was coming after me. I didn't think it looked good. It just made her look more guilty That's what it looked like to me, both of them.
Where do you think the kids are?
They're not on this planet anymore. I don't.
That hit me like a brick in my stomach, bro. I felt that go from my head through my stomach.
I think they are. That's my personal opinion. I know Tylee's a very strong-willed individual, and she's capable of making a phone call if she needs to call. And she hasn't reached out to anybody and let anybody know she's alive. I can't imagine she would be quiet the whole time. I can't imagine it. JJ's a handful. He wouldn't have his medication with him, so how could she take care of him? You know, Tylee and him, how could they take care of each other? And it doesn't add up. If they're in a safe place, why is she in Hawaii having a great time on her honeymoon when her children are running for safety, or hiding in safety? That doesn't even make sense. I think most people understand that. And so everybody's looking in at her going, what are you doing?
Do you think Alex was somehow involved in wherever they are in their disappearance?
I think it's possible.
She fucking knows. You think it's possible? Yes or no? It is not a middle ground conversation. She knew everything. Oh my gosh. She knew. I don't have an ounce or shred of respect or dignity towards this woman because she allowed it all to happen, lied for her friend, and everything she has brought up is either about herself or about how Lori and Chad will look, not about other people's well-being or being alive. Purely, completely just about that group and herself. That's all they think about.
And that he would do that on behalf of his God or his sister?
His sister, I think. Or, yeah, maybe also a higher reason. Maybe if he really truly believed these things, and maybe he felt like he was doing something good for not only them, but God too, I guess.
The other Melanie has said that Lori has a plan, that she always has a plan, and that the kids are safe. Yeah. And Lori's mother and sister have also said that they believe that they're somewhere safe, and the reason they have not asked her where the kids are is because calls are being recorded and because she would.
Who gives a fuck if they're being recorded? I asked her, what is going on? What are you doing? Where are the kids at? She just constantly said, well, we're coming up with a plan, this and that. And you just no way you can know something before you know it. That doesn't mean I ever didn't ask her. Oh, well, it's being recorded. We don't want to, it's recorded. Who cares? Who cares if it's being recorded? With love from Paige, sending you and Kelsey much love. Thank you.
Tell them.
I think that they want to believe Lori. And they want to be a support to her. I'm not sure all the reasons why they're saying what. I haven't watched much of, a lot of that footage, just a little bit. But sometimes when you know stuff, it's embarrassing to come forward with it, or you may get in trouble yourself. So you might not want to speak, or you really believe them. So I don't know.
Do you think they know stuff?
I don't know about some of the people. I don't know all of what they know from Lori. I know some of them what they know, and I know some of them I don't know what everybody knows, but some of them do.
I don't know what the hell that was. Whatever that whole line of questioning was, that was a circle around my head.
You said when you know stuff, it can be embarrassing. Is talking about this painful for you? Embarrassing? Relieving? Describe your thoughts.
Yeah. Well, I don't know if it's relieving so much as I'm happy to do it to help those that are suffering. But it's not my most.
I don't believe that at all. Here's the thing. Okay, let's go back. Let's give you guys context here really quickly. So, yes, did Lori and Chad ever specifically tell someone, here's where Tylee and JJ are? I think that only Alex, Chad, and Lori specifically knew where they were. What I am saying is that the other people in this group, maybe excluding Zulema by a small amount, because I haven't heard enough really about what she knew. I'm just talking about if you knew your friends were talking about this stuff, about the darkness and the zombies and the death, and then all these people start dying. My point is you did know. So you might not know, okay, this is what happened at this point, but you know about Charles, you know you're seancing against him. You know about Tim, you know you're seancing against him. You know they were cheating, then you know that the kids disappeared. and you never had a thought and tried to be there for the people who are suffering and being murdered then, but now you want to be here for the sufferers of multiple probations. The multiple probations isn't what got people killed. The multiple probations is just a thought process. The zombie demon thing is what got people killed. That's singular teaching. So why are you talking about the multiple probations? Who gives a shit about that? That's not the point. The reality was, what they were doing is saying that these people have been hijacked out of their bodies and we're going to kill their bodies, but they just happen to also collect the money on their bodies and collect money off of it. It's all about money, and you can see it because you were deep in this group. So don't sit here and act like you're trying to save people from the multiple probations teachings. That has nothing to do with it.
It's favorite thing to talk to on television about those that I associated with that have done things that are, I mean, this case is so big and so widespread. You know, you can't be excited about sharing, you know, who you associated with. It's hard.
And you said, I believe you haven't watched television in 16 years. It's not like you're a news hound, and you purposely haven't been following this case. Is that because it is painful?
In the beginning, I was watching to see what they're going to release, because often I thought, what are they going to say about me? You know, and, you know, you're worried about that. So that was a lot of my fears, is like, you know, what are they going to say about me? And so I was making a lot about me.
It has nothing to do with anybody but herself. Her and Lori are twins, brother. Twins.
As I kind of got, you know, as I, you know, met with the police more and talked, and I started to feel more comfortable, like, you know, okay, I understand what they're exposing, what they're sharing, everything's out there. I started to get okay with that, but after a while, it was just so hard to listen to. I mean, there'd be times it was hard for me to eat. The fear was pretty intense. And I still, you know, was concerned. You know, I still concern and love everybody. You know, I'm not a person that dislikes people or hates people. It's not my personality. So, yeah, it's not
like Tyler. We know that.
Easy, Nate.
Did Chad and Lori betray you?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Did they betray others?
I'm a little frustrated with how this narrative of this interview is turning into her. I am. Don't inflate her ego more than it needs to be. That's a little frustrating. I understand you're interviewing her, so it's like asking her about everybody else is kind of like hearsay in a sense, but I mean, you know what I mean? Like, it's just kind of like, how do you feel? I don't care.
Possibly. I have to think about that one to kind of do the work, but yeah, I would say to those that have passed on, if you want to say it that way, yeah. You know, when you look at the circle of people that surround Chad and Lori, there's 5 people dead or either missing. That's not really a good indication that that people in their inner circle are safe, you know, and their inclusive family members are safe. That's you do the math. I mean,
do you
right?
think you would have ever been on that list where a zombie overtook you?
Maybe now I might be. Maybe now I might be.
Are you still concerned for your safety?
No.
Let's talk about Brandon Boudreaux and when he was shot at. Did you have any sort of relationship with Brandon? Had you met him through Melanie?
I had met him briefly, once or twice. Not much conversation. Just
when you came to Christmas and crashed the party.
I kind of nothing.
Casual acquaintances.
Yeah, I didn't really know him. Yeah.
How did you find out that somebody had taken a shot at him?
So that's interesting. I didn't know he was shot at until I was asked to go check on his house and drive by his house to see if their children, you know, Brandon's children were there.
And who asked you to do that?
Alex and Melanie. And so I drove by and to see if anybody was there because she was concerned about her children. And I talked to a neighbor, and he said that they had moved out 2 weeks ago. And he said there was no children there. And he said, I'm really glad they moved on because somebody tried to shoot at Brandon. And I said, really? So anyway, I went back and shared this with Alex, and he said, oh, yeah, we heard about that. He got shot at, but we believe that somebody tried to take a shot at it to make it look like it was us or make it look like me. I'm not sure who was referring to himself or...
So Alex volunteered and said they're trying to make people think it was me.
Yeah. You're saying it better than I am.
What did you think when you heard that?
I was like, wow, it was very, I'm just surprised. I was very surprised by it.
Oh, yeah, poor Alex. Oh, they're trying to pin it on him.
I didn't quite know what to think about that. I thought that was unusual.
Do you think it was Alex?
From what I have heard, it does sound like it.
Do you know of anybody else that might have tried to do that?
No. I wouldn't know who likes Brandon or who doesn't like Brandon. I didn't know enough about.
Yeah.
Yeah.
July 22nd, 2020. Is the world going to end that day?
No, the world's not going to end.
But Lori believes it will, or at least believed it, and Chad.
Right, so let me just back up for a little bit to help you understand a little bit why all these people died and all these people started missing. That's kind of sloppy work. You know, it's obvious that the kids are missing, so wouldn't you be concerned that people would notice? That was my thought. It was like, why? But the belief system is that she believed that there was going to be an earthquake that was going to hit so large in Utah that by the end of 2019, that they wouldn't notice anything in her personal life going on. So if she were to marry Chad, for example, she said that like probably a year before that, you know, so when Chad and I get married someday, nobody will notice we're married because of the earthquake and the different destruction going on. So as I now understand that the kids are now missing, that
you just clear as day said that you think the kids are gone. You did not say missing. You did not say that.
She felt confident in doing that, thinking that nobody would notice. And that's why it was kind of done in a sloppy way. I mean, that's how I see it. It's kind of like a, you know, that wasn't very orchestrated very well.
So she thought, or at least she said, there'll be a huge earthquake in Salt Lake City, and everybody will be so focused on that,
right,
that we'll be able to do what we need to do.
Correct.
So how does July 22nd come about?
Well, I never heard that date. I always heard August, but that comes from a few different ideas of, it didn't come from her, I'll just say that. It came from different research and she did on her own about the year 2020 would be like a half an hour silence in heaven, and that it matched up to that year. And so that because she believed that it was going to happen according to like what she thought was going to happen at that time, which there was nothing shared on that subject that would say, well, this particular thing is going to happen on that day, but she had concluded herself and wanted to really believe that something could happen on that month. And so therefore,
dude, the more she tries to explain it, the harder and harder it is for me to follow.
It didn't really matter all the things that were happening in her life, that they would, you know, not be known to the world because of all the things that were going to happen.
Looking back at the Lori you knew then to the Lori you see today, in jail, not talking about where her kids are, what is that like for you?
In the beginning, it was much harder than it is now, but it still is.
Yeah, she just loves Lori so much and so sad for her. Okay, we'll get to that in a second. I just want to read, with love from Paige, and will not get away unscathed. The world knows the truth, and she will face justice one way or another. Yeah, well, I agree with you. I do agree with you. It's just weird to hear people say, like, okay, I understand it's my mom. I can contextualize this pretty well, I think, myself, and say, okay, yes, she was your mom. She wasn't always exactly like this. Things escalated to a level I'd never seen, but there's parts of this that already pre-existed. And from my perspective, the reality is that she no longer is a mother after she did what she did. And that's just what it is. There's things that break that tie, right? There's things that you do when you break. Yeah, of course, is she always going to be my mom? Sure. She gave birth to me. But at the end of the day, you don't have to keep going down that line with somebody when it's like this. They broke that. They broke your entire family and life and everything in it and all about it and everything. And so I don't feel bad for Lori. And I'll tell you why, because I figured out this is exactly what she wanted. This is exactly what her evil doings cost her. And she got away with more than she ever should have. But it happened. There's no going back. And at the end of the day, this is the consequence to what she did. So why would I feel bad for that? I don't feel sorry for her.
It's hard for me to, I think about her, like what her daily life is and how she's not free. So she's very free and fun-loving, you know, before. And now she is, you know, no freedom. And none of the things she wanted are coming to pass. She's not the happier person that I once saw her to be, or the excited person that she had and hopes for the future. Her hopes are now not her hopes anymore, and they've changed. And that just must be very painful for her. I can't even imagine what she's going through. To think that,
man, who gives a shit? I can't believe you're making this about her. I cannot believe you're doing this.
Something, you know, if you believe it, right, and you really believe these things are going to happen for you, it's quite a contrast. And that contrast must be quite an amazing feeling of heartache and wondering. I wonder if she's questioning herself, like, how did this happen? You know, I often have said, Chad claiming to be the visionary that he was, and I believed he was a visionary. I think he does have that gift. And he often said that it was like, there was a part, like the door left, like that God left a door open, and he still had the ability to have visionary experiences often. Because in our church, we do believe people can have visions, right? And so that belief didn't make me, well, I'm sure he probably does have vision. I'm not one, but maybe, he is a visionary. But I would think that if he was such a visionary, like he was portraying him and with my friends and with Lori, that he would have saw this coming. This is big.
Hey, dummy. He literally caused it. They caused it together. This is not a consequence or a coming of a tsunami or a hurricane or natural disaster. This was choice after choice after choice with meticulous thought behind it, premeditated. So anybody who's has half a brain could say, this is all consequence of an action after action. We talked about this. You get to a fork in the road and you choose which way you go. They kept killing and stealing. This is not oh, he should have seen this coming. This isn't an attack. That just shows you, I think she's still in it right here, right now.
He would have saw this one. And I don't understand how he didn't see it.
Have you thought about the day that you're going to walk into that courtroom and be called as a witness, and she's going to be sitting probably as far apart as we are right now, and looking her in the eyes? I mean, do you think about that and what that experience will be like?
I have. And all I keep feeling is that I have love in my heart still. And it will be hard for me to see her in her jail outfit and, not be able to look as pretty as she'd want to be.
Who cares? Oh my. The gloves are coming off. Who? Are you serious? Are you serious about how you want her to look pretty and be free like a free little frolicking bird? She's a psychopath.
And I know she doesn't want to be there, But I'm also sorrowful for all those that have had to pass away. Good people. These doctrines are dangerous. And look what they lead to. They lead to people dying. If that doctor...
I can't believe this is days before. I cannot comprehend that.
Doctrine was not revealed. I've said this once, but I want to emphasize it. Then these people wouldn't have died. It's very important for people to understand that God veils us from any kind of knowledge before we came to this earth. I think most people would agree on that. Most people don't have that information.
I don't want to hear her preach. I'm sick of it. I don't want to hear this woman preach another word about what God's doing. I don't want to hear it. Is there a way to freaking fast forward this crap?
And there's a reason for that. He doesn't want us to know. I mean, if you believe that stuff, you can believe that, what's the use in this life? We can do it in another one. It's not helpful for your progress. And then it would make the atonement of Jesus Christ not effective, because you'd have to keep repeating. And there's no need to repeat because he did it all for us.
A lot of people think that Lori's kind of leading Chad along, but based on this conversation, it sounds like Chad is kind of how would you describe it?
I often see him as the hand and her as the puppet on the hand. And I don't know if that's completely how I want to describe it, but that's kind of an idea. They're two people that have a lot of passion for a lot of things that they think a lot alike as far as spiritual ideas go. And he comes across as reserved and quiet, and she is not. And so I can see how people could see that. But I think ultimately, they both are just as equally bad for each other.
Mm-hmm. We hear that Lori spends a lot of her time reading the scriptures in jail and singing hymns.
Yeah.
Are you surprised by that?
No, she really did know her scriptures well. She talked to me a lot about scripture. She read them quite a bit, and she knew them.
She was a scriptorian.
So, yeah, and she loved it. I mean, I always noticed how much I went to her house once and she had her scriptures reading, open. I said, it's just like something you'd see in my house. Yeah. She did love the Lord. She does love the Lord.
Shit. I am blown. I'm blown away. I don't even know whether to scream at the top of my lungs right now, cuss her out. I think I'm a little bit in shock, to be honest with you. She loves the Lord. She wouldn't know the Lord if he stood in front of her right now. That is how blind she is to Jesus Christ and you just said you read your scriptures, I think you need to get a new version of them. And I think we need to make sure you're reading the Bible for what it says. Because you cannot have it both ways. Let's just put it that way. That's the most reserved way I can explain that.
She does love scriptures. She does love beautiful things. This is what's so tragic, is that her great love for truth and the gospel of Jesus Christ is at her heart, I believe. And this has got to be such a painful thing for her to come to believe, so that she realizes at some point she's actually gone against what is true. That would be hard to take in, especially as much as she loves God. That would be hard for her.
And you don't think she'll get to that point?
Who knows? I don't know. I hope so. I can't say. I always have hope for everybody.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What do you think should happen to them if they're found guilty?
Here we go. Release to freedom for beautiful things to so they can just dance and love beautiful things and sing songs to each other and giggle in each other's ears.
Of doing something to the children, or of Tammy's death, some involvement there?
Well, whatever the punishment is in our country, whatever jail time or whatever, they just shouldn't be back out. When you take people's life as serious, so they don't have a right to come out and hurt other people. It's safer that they're in a place that they can't influence other people, unfortunately,
One of the things I think is kind of neat through all of this horrible tragedy, the friendship that you've developed with Tammy's family.
Well, I haven't really connected to hardly any of her family still. I haven't talked to any of his relatives that I'm aware of, but just one person in Tammy's family. And we just accidentally happened to find each other. So I wasn't seeking after it. But it was healing for her to hear her, me share what I knew, because I was so in their inner circle, Chad and Lori's, that everybody was excluded, I'm sure, from that part of the family. So it was sweet. I would just say it's very sweet.
I wanted to touch on quickly, too, the podcast.
Oh, yeah.
How did the podcast platform come about? Did that start with you or somebody else? And how did
Yeah, it was actually my idea. I had decided to write a book, and then I decided that I wanted to do a podcast to share some of my experiences with a change of heart and the doctrine of Christ. So I had a few people join us, and at the end, Lori was the friend that came right at the end.
I know I've been a horrible example of a Christian with all of my ways, and I can honestly tell you how I've not been a good example at all. But you know what? Neither here nor there right now, because I will tell you that there's nothing Christian about the group. There's nothing Christian about what they're saying. I will say, when you start to hear things of the nature of looking good, feeling good, beautiful, freedom, self-absorbed, anybody who's as self-absorbed and constantly thinking about themselves is not really going down the same path as someone who's truly following any type of Christianity. So to hear all these words and then talk about, like, just throw Jesus in, this is what they've gotten used to. They've gotten used to saying Jesus's name like it's just, the word and they just throw stuff out there and they just say it and say it and say it without any conviction in their heart. There's nothing here. There's nothing here. Goodbye. Hello. Nothing there. So I don't know why she's even throwing this crap in here.
Because I was just starting it about the time I met her, and she said she'd be happy to join. And so we just talked about, things that help people to have better relationships with people, or things that we've learned from the Savior, those kind of things.
And so it was mainly you and Lori?
No, it was me. There was four of us that were generally on it. We had guest speakers.
And so Chad was an occasional guest? He was
a guest. Yes, he was just a guest about 2 times in person and then 2 times on the phone.
Okay. But Lori and you and the other 2 were regulars. You were regulars.
Yeah.
What's the one thing you want people to take away from this interview? What's the one thing you want people to remember about Melanie Gibb?
Oh,
why do you say it like that? What's the one thing you want people to remember about Melanie Gibb? I love it.
I don't want them to remember me.
Yeah.
Truthfully. I didn't want to get known this way. But I do want to, if I am remembered, to the person that loved the group of people that are in trouble, to know that being deceived can be very dangerous. And listening to your own revelation and not people's is very important. Not letting people tell you what to do for your journey, to really seek personal revelation yourself, and not putting the trust, your trust in the flesh. And that kind of kept coming after me. I kept getting that in my mind often, is do not put your trust in the arm of flesh. And that's exactly what everybody did.
Have you had any interaction with his family?
Not with his children, no.
Is there anything that you would want to say to them if they're watching?
Wow. This is really hard. I am feeling for their journey. Getting up here and speaking, I have no desire to say things about people that's hurtful. It's just truthful. But that's not my personality to gossip. So this is very uncomfortable for me. I do care about those kids. I know Tammy does.
So you don't gossip, but you seance on people's lives. Okay.
I do know that they did meet Lori. I did know, if I'm speaking to them, I did know that you met Lori. That's how close, just to let you know how close I am to the situation. I know she had them all over her townhome for cookies, after the funeral. When she came back to town, and I know they fell in love with her, according to her.
That is a big contradiction of what we heard from the Daybell children. They barely knew Lori. You hear how much of this just... Oh, man. Don't worry, though. They're not like me. Just don't worry. Just don't worry, guys. The Daybell kids are nothing like me.
So I can see why they would like her, because she was so excited to meet them. And she was very loving, and she has that personality. She can just take people in, and she just takes them like Velcro almost. She just pulls you into her inner circle almost to the point she doesn't let you go. And so she has that personality. And so I'm sure that it's hard to know who to believe. And my heart does go out to them. And I want them to know that it's really hard for me to talk about their dad, because I really like Chad. I think he's a good guy.
Still.
He's a nice man. Yeah. I like him as a person. But his teachings, they're dangerous.
If he's watching, what do you say to him?
I still care for you and Lori. And this is really painful, what you're going through. But God has always taught us to be honest. There's no exceptions to those rules. And when you walk with peace, even if you're guilty...
Do you see how she's charging up to give you this movie moment? In the pausing and all of this performance.
You confess, there's a peace that comes from telling the truth. I know I have that peace because I've come forward, because people passed away. And I'm grateful they actually lied to the police about it.
You are?
I am, because it made me have to face it. And it made me go through all kinds of experience that nobody on the planet wants to go through. I had to face fears that I never had before, a different level. But
I'm grateful I lied to the police, is the first thing she just said. This was before they even found Tylee and JJ. So Chad's a good guy. She feels bad for him, bad for Lori. His multiple probations is dangerous. She got screwed over. She's gullible, but she didn't believe everything. She was skeptical the whole time, but she's really gullible. And
faith got stronger in a way that's changed forever. And I hope that they realize that when we open those doors to darkness, they tell us things that we want, because sometimes we want things. But we are taught to bridle our passions. The Lord taught me that over and over. To be a zealot, but to not be overzealous. And we have to learn how to have patience, wanting nothing. And sometimes when
I'm going to say this, and I don't care what the repercussions are of this. If she's teaching anybody in any capacity, she needs to be kicked out of the space that she is teaching. This is a dangerous person who has dangerous beliefs and still believes them and is holding on to what was dangerous. She should not be allowed to teach anything spiritual, at least for the LDS Church. Do some vetting, please.
Really want something. That's when we fall. And sometimes the answer is no. Wait. But boy, she did not have patience. That's one thing she did not have, is patience. And it led to a fatal attraction, unfortunately.
You said that when you want something, you have to bridle your passions. What ultimately did they want? What did Chad and Lori want? Power, followers? Was it about sex? Was it about money? Was it about God? What was their ultimate goal, do you think?
Oh, that's a really personal thing. It's hard to share because she shared a lot of personal things with me, and I hate to share that out loud.
What
It's
can you
hard.
tell us that you feel
But I'll just say
comfortable
that it was a fatal attraction. It was a lot of love between the two of them. They really, really seemed to love each other a lot, and they just couldn't wait to be together. And
lust, too?
yeah.
What would you say
Why
to
is
her?
that hard to say? That's hard to say? You can talk about the kids. Easy.
We've had a lot of fun times together. We've laughed a lot. And I love her. And I'm so sorry that she's been so deceived by Chad.
So you'll cry for Lori, the one who's a murderer. You'll cry for Lori.
And that she's also been deceived by not just Chad, but I believe other people on the other side of the veil, pretending to be good when they're not. And she got tricked. And the same thing is when we want something really badly. But if we go into our heart...
Stop with the preaching. Damn. I don't want to hear another preaching
realize
word
the
on your
path
mouth.
is always going forward in love. He still loves Chad. And
That is quite a message of love and peace.
Yeah.
A lot of people don't have love for her.
I know.
And she could end a lot of this if she just would speak and say where the kids are.
Yeah.
Do you think she will?
I don't know. It doesn't look like it. As long as she holds on to these beliefs, she won't. But if she comes to realize which her inner feelings were, could Chad really be Satan? And if so, he's a really good one. You know that conversation we had, Lori?
Lori's not there.
Maybe that was that little feeling telling you inside that, yeah, he wasn't doing the right things and saying the right things.
Man, I couldn't get through it. Oh my gosh. Blah. Blah. Come on now. Here's the thing, okay? Being completely blasphemous to God has its problems. You cannot use God and Jesus' name to absolutely do the exact opposite and say, yep, he told me to do that. Yep, he told me to do that. Yep, he told me to do that. You think that God likes that? Okay. That and the fact that you were so sad for just Lori and her freedom and Chad because he's a good guy tells you everything. It tells you everything. And the preaching and my word. Frick dis. Whew. I'm glad it's over. I don't want to go back with that. Guys, we've still got to finish a few more things. I'm going to give you guys some time to do a Q&A if you have any questions. But also, I'd like your opinion on what you want to do next. We are closer in the trials to the end. And so we're at the point where we're getting close to the, the closing arguments. There's a few more people we could go back and watch. But also, I do know that Nate and others have got interviews. You have to give Nate credit for one thing, and Nate covered this in just a different angle and way, and he got a lot of these conversations to happen. And so I give him credit for that. And I know that I just saw, if we go out to our playlist here, I just saw it somewhere. I don't know. These are all random videos. There was a, oh, here it is. Look at this, who it is. This is Julie Rowe. Okay. So if you guys want to watch this video before we go, cause once we kind of get past like this part, I feel like I've had, plenty of time and information on this, but this is Julie Rowe. That's Julie Rowe. She's the one that was Chad's friend and wrote books with him and yada, yada. So if you guys want to do that, then let me know, because once we get past like the trial part, that's going to kind of close the book. So if you guys want to watch Julie Rowe, we can do that tomorrow or starting Monday. Do a few more of these interviews and kind of see what the people were thinking. Or if you guys want to watch the body cams together, you guys let me know. Because if not, we'll just finish the trial. And that's fine with me too. Okay, so Crazy Cat Lady says, do you think she was concerned that if she criticized them, she would be next? Good point, actually. Yeah, probably. She said she was afraid for her life at one point. She's not now, apparently. But she did say that. She did say she was afraid of it. Colby, have you ever seen Adam Cox interview with the police? I have not seen that. You guys don't. I cannot tell you how this is new information to me. I have not watched these interviews. I have not watched body cams. I did not read documents. I kid you not. Like, this is the first time I'm seeing this. So it's not new information, but it is to me. Like, the details, actually paying attention, all of it is still fresh because it's all like, whoa, like, but you guys have known this probably for a long time. I didn't know that. I didn't know any of this. I also feel like I'm also, for my own sake, on top of it providing some context to you guys. So that's kind of where I'm at with it. This is all new to me. It is, and it's insane. It's insane. I can't believe it, man. I have done some, like, I don't know how to explain this. When I've listened to other people's cases and I've listened to and learned about history, I've never seen anything like it. I've never seen anything this complex, this many people involved, and in a new age, like where there's actual cameras and like just all of it. I can't believe it. It still is a shock to me. It really is. It's still shocking. It's insane. I did see like things, I saw them when they came out, but I didn't watch them. Does that make sense? I never watched, like, I saw the body cams that come out, didn't watch body cams. Like, I've seen clips of the body cams because of the Netflix documentary, and that was like actually where I saw most of that information at that time, is through the Netflix documentary. But I think I was so upset about the documentary that my mind didn't actually pick up the information. Like, it was just too traumatizing. So like, I didn't absorb any of that information. Julie tried to sneak into one of the trials. Yep. Yeah. And she was in Netflix. She was on Netflix. No idea why. No idea why. So Fox 10 did an interview with Zach Cox, Adam's son. He'd been living with Lori and Charles. Yep. He was. Yes, he was. If you cannot stand Gibb, Julie Rowe will melt your brain. Oh, I know. I've heard her talk. She's the priestess. She's the miracle worker thingies. She's the one that brought in that kind of stuff, I'm pretty sure. So I know that. But I know that for that, I don't know. I know she brought in a lot of, you have to see the mixture of everybody's crap here. You have to see where they're pulling. They're pulling literal fantasy stuff like Dungeons and Dragons crap. They're bringing in spirituality. They're bringing in energy work. They're bringing in, I mean, you name it. They just mixed a pot together of all these concepts and just, you know. Did you see Summer's interview with Nate? Not, I think I watched maybe 2 minutes of it. I did not watch it though. Do you feel like you have a better picture after watching what you have? Yeah. It's starting to make more sense. Because I'll explain to you guys in this way. The best way I can explain it is when you lose people, there's so many parts of you that are existing, right? You have the part of you that's completely traumatized, and you have the part of you that's questioning everything, and then you have the family piece of you that's like mourning, and that part of you like missing your family, and like there's that human side of you, but you also have questions, and so it's like you never know you just can't work with grief easily. It's never going to ever be linear or clean or pretty or anything like that. So I went through every stage of grief. I really did. I really realized what that meant. It was not in order of the way it went. What people don't understand about the stages of grief is that it doesn't just go away all the time, especially in something this complex. You don't just have like, oh, I went through the stages, I'm cool. Like, oh, I'm on the other side. Acceptance doesn't mean that you don't have other parts come back. And so really how I think it is hearing and learning more about what actually happened with my family helps me understand the best of my ability to what happened, and it does bring a conclusion in a sense. Like, more acceptance comes with understanding it better. And I think if you talk to any, I don't want to ever use the word victim, but like victims' family members that are surviving through it, if they have ever had someone unalived, you have a lot of like, there's a part of you that just wants to know what happened. I think that's pretty human of us. Like, we just kind of want to understand and grasp something in our hands just because it's so foreign, it doesn't make sense, and we're trying to figure this whole thing out. And so for me, that's where I've been at as well, you know? So, Colby, if you had a chance to confront these people, would you? I would literally have them on the channel and have a discussion if they were open to it. I know I get angry. I'm pretty sure I'd be angry with them in person, but I also think that having a conversation is important, and I would give them an opportunity to say their piece. I just think that this is what they would say. So what's the point? It's kind of like me talking to Lori. I learned my lesson. I used to have this like hope of people where it's like, oh yeah, like maybe they're good people, blah, 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 whatever. And you just kind of give them the benefit of the doubt. And then after interviewing with Lori, my entire life changed. And I realized that some people truly want to be a certain way. They are evil. You have to learn how to accept it fully. This is who they are. They're showing you. That's what it is. But do I think I'm ever going to sit down with them? Absolutely not. I'm just saying. I've told you guys I would talk to Chad's kids. I don't have the respect for any of these people because I don't think that they see through a real lens. So it'd be really hard to have a conversation. But anybody who's open-minded enough to share a perspective, I would listen, but I would not be like Nate. I couldn't. And I could never do that with Lori again. People have asked me, would you interview Lori again? If I did, it would be the way I've been talking to you guys the last few days. I'm just done with it. I'm not going to sit here and act like what you're saying is real or pretend that I believe you. I don't know if Julie Rose excommunicated. But their belief system's so far from the LDS core base religion that they should be. It's outside the scope. They're practicing crazy stuff. Do you think they should have charged Melanie Gibb? I think what Melanie Gibb did is flip herself as fast as she could. That's the only reason I think she didn't. I mean, listen to what she was preparing for and getting ready for. You know? Tess said we would need a swear swimming pool. Yeah, I just don't. My filter has come to this point. Would I be like screaming at them? Probably not. But would I couldn't handle that. I'd say that's bullshit. I would tell them right to their face. I'd say that's complete bullshit and you know it. You cannot pitch me that. So it's really hard to listen you say that. That's exactly how I talk to them. It would not go well. I don't think it'd be productive. That's all I'm saying. But yeah, I don't know. I don't know how to explain how there's so many people involved, so many people covering for the murderers. Like the part hurts me more than anything is that there's so many people trying to make it look like Chad and Lori are good people as they're claiming it. And that just blows my mind. It blows my mind to try to be like, no, they're good people. They're such good people. They wouldn't hurt a fly. They're sweet, humble, meek, blah, 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 just on and on and on. And there's all these witnesses of people trying to give, and then point the finger. Oh, it's Chad. Oh, it's Lori. Oh, it's Alex. It's all three of them. Put it in a real scope, zoom out. It's all three of them. And it's also the other participants. Yes, they used Alex as the main person to do the dirty work, but they're all involved and they all knew how to have burner phones. They all knew what they were doing. I don't ever want to hear that any one of them was completely unable to comprehend anything. Even if they believed it, they don't believe it because they both backtracked. Chad is backtracked and so is Lori. You know? That's just what I think. But I don't know. I think the church should definitely vet people and really get into, especially when it's like this, and try to get to the bottom of it with that person. I can't say if they have or have not. I just know that you got to make sure that people like that aren't going around in the LDS church continually planting seeds and pulling people into new belief systems. And what pissed me off the most, outside of Melanie Gibb being so sad for Lori, so sad for Chad that they can't be together, that she can't look beautiful. I mean, that was no care for Tylee, no care for JJ, doesn't care about Tammy, doesn't care about Charles. Doesn't matter, right? None of those people matter, but she starts to cry for how Lori looks in her jail outfit, which, by the way, I'm pretty sure she was in court clothes. At least when I saw her in Arizona, she was. Yeah, it gets me the most. It gets me the most that this is all how this is. I just can't fathom it. I don't know. But you should not let people like this be still in any kind of, I don't think you should have them allowed to come to church and be involved in things. Like, I don't know. I don't know what you do with that, but that's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. If you really think that they should be allowed to just be around and bring that crap to church and start getting people to come to those groups, because that's where it starts. You need to understand. It's like any kind of, predator is like, start in a big crowd so that way you find it, and then they pull you away, and then they pull you away again, and they just keep leading you as far as you'll go. That's the point. And that's exactly what this is. They start at church. Oh, you're LDS? Yeah, me too. Hey, why don't you come to this thing tonight? Pitch you a little bit. See what you think, what you feel. Then if they take the bait, you pull them back a little bit more, and you just keep going. That's exactly what this is. Why do you think Tylee was so challenging for Melanie? So Tylee didn't like Melanie Gibb, and I didn't like Melanie Gibb. Melanie Gibb was very boundaryless, whatever the word would be. She had no boundaries, put it that way. She get in your face. She just, absolutely zero boundaries. We didn't know who she was. She was pulling my mom in to act like a 14-year-old girl, maybe 12-year-old, and things like that. So that's kind of how that happened, is like just watching them together would piss anybody off. You're just annoyed. Like, just as a general human being, you're just like, what the hell are you two doing? Like, you're just annoyed by their presence. And then everywhere we went, Melanie Gibb got brought like a magnet with Lori. Like I told you guys a story about Tylee taking her friends to Disneyland. Lori brought Melanie Gibb, and then they lied about going to the temple all day, and then they ended up going to Disneyland anyway. I don't know why they lied about it, but whatever. But Tylee was strong-willed, and Tylee says how she feels. And Melanie Gibb rubbed everyone the wrong way. And I don't know if she's nice or not, because she just rubbed us all the wrong way every time. And so, you could tell there was a disdain, though, from Melanie Gibb to Tylee as well. And you need to understand, in that time, JJ's going to school. I don't remember when Tylee stopped going to school, but she got her GED. And so she wasn't going to school every day. And she was kind of living her life. But it would be usually probably Lori. Charles is in and out of town. So it's just really Tylee and Lori. And I bet that Melanie Gibb was just at the house 24/7, constantly. So that would probably piss her off too. I don't know. No, like in my face, like literally, like physically in my face, but like overwhelming fake love, whatever, just in my face. Like, whoa, like just thought that we could be like, she told me she was my second mom the first time I met her. She goes, "Hi, I'm your second mom." I'm like, what the hell? Why? I don't like the one I have. Why do I need two? No, thank you. So, all right, I'm going to do one more question. We got a stream for tomorrow. I also want to say thank you, mods, for everything. Thank you guys for being here. If you guys want to watch this real quick before you get to your next question, you want to watch Julie Rowe's whole interview, put 1 in the chat so that way I know what we should be focusing on for this week coming up. If we want to start, if we want to do this tomorrow and then get back into the trial, we can do that. So let me know if you guys want to do that. Throw 1 in the chat. If I see enough ones, we'll do it. We'll watch it. If not, we'll go back, kind of get back with the trial. And it's good, though, to have some context, honestly. I do like being able to know what was going on a little bit more. It helps me put things at peace. There's not going to be, I don't have a million questions now. Things are starting to make sense. They're never going to make sense. It's never going to be like, oh, we understand what happened. We'll never know that. But this is going to, it kind of makes you stop questioning so much, you know? All right, I see your ones. I see the ones. We'll watch it tomorrow. And then starting Monday, if there's any other interviews or body cams or anything you guys want to watch, you can either email me or you can just let me know. One more question before we go. Let me know what you guys want to do. I hear this question and I hear all of this, and my questions are, where did any of them get the money to travel, and did anyone work? So from what I understand, Charles took very good care of my mom and our family, and he would probably pay for most things. I don't know about Melanie Gibb, but Brandon also took care of his wife very well. So that covers that. Lori, from what we understand, Lori was also using Alex to pay for tickets through Chad, but giving him money for it. So it sounds mostly like Lori was funding most of this. I don't know what Melanie Gibb's husband did at that time, but that was their goal. So once what happened with Charles happened, Lori started using that money. So Lori took whatever money they got after Charles was killed to whatever that was, not insurance, but like monthly payments for JJ or something. She had that money, right? Which is way more than most people's incomes at that time too. And then you had all these other people contributing in their probably little bits at a time. But the whole goal was, right? This is what we need to put into context for everybody. They were going to take Charles's $1 million and whatever they got from Tammy and whatever they got from Brandon, and just like all kind of live off of this like multi-million-dollar thing, plus what they were getting for Tylee and JJ for as long as they could. That is how they did that. So they did get Tammy's, unfortunately, and they were also, she was collecting for Tylee and JJ. So all of that combined was, I think, what was funding all of this stuff. But no, none of them had a job. I mean, Chad had his books. Apparently people were buying his books. I don't know. I couldn't speak to that. But he had his money from, obviously, from Tammy, and Lori was going to use the $1 million for everything else. But that's all I know. Anyway, all right. Well, I will see you guys tomorrow. It looks like we're going to be watching Julie Rowe tomorrow. I absolutely love you guys. Appreciate you. And yeah, thank you for allowing me to have a place to be myself. And thank you guys for being yourselves here and creating a community. Just always going to say how grateful I am for our community. And yeah, just thank you guys, man. Really do appreciate you. I'll see you guys tomorrow, man.